What's going on? It's me, Julius, aka JR Media, and welcome back to part 3 of the 4K Blu-ray and DVD collection. So, for this one, it's now just basically a couple of different franchises sort of splashed together. So we've got things like Die Hard, we've got Harry Potter, we've got Evil Dead, we've got Indiana Jones and stuff, so lots to get through. One thing I will mention, just a little bit of a technical sort of thing to let you guys know is, basically from once I get to Ghostbusters and onwards to the end of the video, there will be a couple of times where the microphone quality or my voice sounds quite muffled. That is because basically everything from Ghostbusters all the way to the end is behind my bed, and basically this here is like the back part of my bed, and basically I was pretty much leaning over that, and so that meant like the microphone's here, and then basically it's technically sort of behind here a lot of the time. So that's why it does sound a bit muffled. So just want to let you guys know, when you get to that part, there'll be a couple of times, like I think especially when I talk about Interstellar and stuff, it will sound very muffled. So, but you can still hear clearly and stuff. It's still audible. It's just, I just want to let you guys know that there was a little technical issue there. So yeah, just want to let you know that. Regardless, let's get straight into the video. Then we finally reached the end of the DC category, so we're now out of all DC stuff. Now we just move on to just regular sort of movies that are classified under D, with Die Wimpy Kid. This whole trilogy is a childhood favorite of mine. I used to read the books back in the day when they came out, and to be perfectly honest, this whole trilogy, I would say, is one of the rare exceptions where I think the adaptation is better than the source material. I think this first movie is the weakest. I think it is a bit directionless a lot of the time, but I guess it's because it's going for this sort of slice of life type feeling. Like, it doesn't really feel like there's a whole, like, sort of, it doesn't know where we're going really, and the final act just sort of happens sort of out of nowhere with not really much build up. But and also I think this movie is sort of lit kind of a bit weird. It kind of, sometimes it's lit a bit like Scream 4 with like Vaseline over the lens, and some of the lighting looks quite soft. But anyway, this first movie I think is, as I said, it's okay. I think the characters and the actors are fantastic. Like, I think everyone brings top form, especially the Heffley family. Like, the actors they got to play the Heffley family are so damn accurate and so damn good. I mean, there's a bunch of changes into this, but to be honest, I think the changes are better. Like, especially with Frank, I think, because in the books from memory, like, Frank's just sort of an absent dad who's just fed up with everything. But in this, Frank is just insane, and just like, it's the same thing where he's fed up with everything, but he's just so just unhinged and stuff, and he's just so funny. He is so damn good. Roderick, of course, is fantastic, a much better version than in the book, and just a really damn cast. The actor who plays Greg is great, who plays just this self-centered, like, asshole of a kid who thinks he's just so, he's so important and stuff. And another reason why I think the main reason why these are better than the source material is Greg actually changes as a person, whereas in the books he doesn't really. Like, in this, he accepts Rowley as being weird and quirky at the end, and then voluntarily takes the fall for him at school by admitting that he ate the cheese, which doesn't happen in the book from memory. And even if he does, I think he just doesn't. He still makes fun of Rowley for being into like weird stuff, into kiddie stuff. So, but yeah, so this first movie it's okay. I don't think it's definitely the weakest of the films, but the cast and the characters really hold it up. So yeah, I need to upgrade all these to Blu-ray sometime, because it would be good to go watch them again, because they're good fun. Then we've got Die Wimpy Kid 2, Roderick Rules, which is the one I saw in cinemas, and this is the best one. I think this is easily the best one. This is so damn fun and enjoyable. I think this definitely is, I think this does have a good direction for it, where it's all about leading up to the talent contest, as well as Greg trying to get with Holly Hills. I think visually this movie is a step up from the first movie. It doesn't have any of that soft, like, visual, like, Vaseline look. This actually looks like a really damn good movie. But yeah, the relationship between Greg and Roderick is great. And I think what I really love about this one is it continues Greg's sort of character journey, especially where he still accepts Rowley as his friend, but there's a couple of things where he's like, not for me. Like, case in point, the talent show. Like, he doesn't make fun of Rowley for doing the talent show. He's just, personally, I don't want to do that because I don't want to get embarrassed, and that's kind of commendable. But it's even more empowering when he actually decides, I'll do it so that I can get Roderick to play at the talent contest. So, yeah, this one is the best one. I think it's so damn good, so fun, and just sort of a great sort of movie about two brothers who at the start really hate each other but come to some common ground. So yeah, absolutely great film. Check it out if you're a fan of the Diary of a Kid series, or if you just want a nice sort of family movie. It's really damn good. So yeah. Then we've got Diary of a Kid 3, Dog Days, even though this should be the last straw because that's the third movie and Dog Days is 4, but they wanted to, of course, mash it into both movies. It's really good. I think it's not as good as Roderick Rules, but it's still damn enjoyable. You can definitely tell the actors who play the kids are getting old, which is probably why they didn't do another one after this. But yeah, I think this one has an equally great sort of focus between Greg and his dad compared to the first one, which is Greg and Rowley, and then the second one being Greg and Roderick. I think this whole dynamic with Greg and his dad is a great sort of coming of age sort of story. It's definitely not as good as Roderick Rules, but I think it's still a strong finisher for this trilogy of movies, and really a really nice sort of set of family movies where this kid who goes into middle school believing he's going to be the most important person in the world comes out with actually having a bunch of friends and just a nice life and stuff. So yeah, great ending to this trilogy, and just cements that these movies are just are, to be honest, much better than the original source material books, personally, because Greg actually changes and evolves. So yeah. So then we move on to Die Hard. Die Hard. On 4K. So this is the 4K release. This is my favorite Christmas movie, as you might have seen with a video that I put up a couple at the same time as I did my intro video, or my update video from the other week, which was a Ode to Joy trailer for this movie. So go check that out if you want to see a really cool modernized trailer to an epic version of Ode to Joy. But yeah, this is my favorite Christmas movie. I'm not going to get into the whole debate of whether it's a Christmas movie or not, because that's been done to death. So I classify it as a Christmas movie, of course. But anyway, it's fantastic. This really did just change action cinema for forever. Like, it really did. Like, before this, we just had, mega buff, like, protagonists who just felt invincible all the time. This was the blueprint on making action heroes very down to earth and just ultimately vulnerable. Bruce Willis as John McClane is great, just wise-kicking, just being just such wisecracking just douche a lot of the time. Just he feels like the appropriate version of a cop who's also a dad who's going through a divorce. And so but yeah, so I think it's great. Hans Gruber, Alan Rickman. Personally, while I grew up watching Harry Potter and always associated Alan Rickman with Snape, once I saw this, I now think of Hans Gruber as Alan Rickman's prime role, personally. He's just so damn good with his ladies and gentlemen and where are my detonators? Just the way he just delivers his lines is so fantastic and just so good. The action is absolutely fantastic. The setting of Nakatomi Plaza is brilliant and really nice and claustrophobic at times. Just a damn good fun movie. And yeah, just a fantastic Christmas movie in its own right as well. I was actually really lucky to watch this actually at the cinema. I didn't watch this at the time it came out, of course, because I wasn't born in 1988, but I did get to see a re-release of this at the cinema, and that was actually the first time I'd ever saw it, because I think some people from school were saying we should go see this, and I was like, okay, I'll go and watch it. And then we saw it in the cinema, and it was, my eyes were just like, oh, because like before that, Home Alone was my personal favorite Christmas movie, but coming after that, I was like, actually, yeah, I might actually prefer this over Home Alone, which, I mean, makes sense because I love action films so much. So yeah, I managed to see this in the cinema, which is the first time I experienced, which is probably the best way you could first experience this movie. I actually do have the ticket in there from when I actually saw it. So it was 2018 was when I first saw this movie. I saw that in the cinema. So yeah, I was a bit late to the party there, but yeah, but I'm glad now because, man, this first movie is absolutely incredible and just my favorite Christmas movie from then on. So yeah, Die Hard, it's amazing. The 4K is all right. I think it's nothing really that special. I just wanted to get it on 4K because it's like my second favorite. It's my favorite Christmas movie. So yeah, can't get this anymore because it's, as you can see on the spine, it's 20th Century Fox, which is owned by Disney, and Disney stopped selling 4K Blu-rays here in Australia. So this is now kind of a bit pricey now. But anyway, so yeah, Die Hard, absolutely phenomenal. Best Christmas movie of all time. Then we move on to the other Die Hard movies on Blu-ray. So first start off, we just got Die Hard on regular Blu-ray. I got this because this was actually, I got all 5 of these movies on Blu-ray in one bundle on eBay. So I kept it here. And to be honest, I wanted to keep this on the shelf rather than merging the disc, putting the Blu-ray disc in the 4K just for uniformity. Just for uniformity purposes, because it does feel a bit weird just seeing the 4K just right next to Die Hard 2. So I think I like to just have this up on the shelf, even though I don't really need it since I've got the 4K, but I just like to have it with uniformity. But anyway, so yeah, that's just the Blu-ray version. So yeah. Then we've got Die Hard 2, Die Harder, which is probably my second least favorite Die Hard film, to be honest. I think it's good, but I think it's only like a 7 out of 10. You could definitely feel John McTiernan's not back for this one. The setting of the airport is really cool. I really like that. It's a bit more bigger compared to Nakatomi Plaza. But I don't think the plot is as interesting. I think also the villain, I think, is definitely, if it wasn't for A Good Day to Die Hard not really having a villain, I would say it's probably the weakest villain in the Die Hard franchise. Like, he's okay, but he's just not, he's pretty meh. Not really that memorable, especially not compared to Han's. So yeah, I think this one it's enjoyable. I think the scene where the main bad guy makes the plane crash into the ground and kills just an entire I think it's a British Airways flight, and just kills all these people in one go. It's like, oh damn, geez. I'm like, okay, I guess this guy does mean business. So yeah, I think this one is definitely, it's a safe sort of sequel, but it just does not compare to the first movie. I do like it's still set in Christmas, as well as it still has Holly in it, and they're still together, even though she's not really does a whole much compared to the first movie. So I think I can understand why after this she's not in any of the movies, because she doesn't do a whole lot in this one. So yeah, but Die Hard 2, good sequel, just not as good as the original, and personally my second least favorite of the entire franchise. Then we've got Die Hard with a Vengeance. John McTiernan comes back with a vengeance here in this movie, because oh boy, this one's a good one. This one is the first to ditch the Christmas theme, which understandable, because how many times would this realistically happen to this guy on Christmas? So, but yeah, this one is great. This starts the trend of the Die Hard movies with John McClane having a partner. and this one being Samuel L. Jackson, who's probably the best partner, although I like Matt from the next one personally. But anyway, this is just absolutely great because this one is now split across all of New York with John McClane and Samuel L. Jackson's character Zeus, I think his name from memory. John and Zeus going across town to solve all these riddles who are being made by this guy who's called Simon. And as you find out in the movie, quite predictably, but you find out, yeah, it's Simon Peter Gruber, who's of course the brother of Hans Gruber. And I really do like they replicate what happened in the first movie, where you think it's all to do with this whole like fearful thing about terrorism and stuff, but it's actually all about just stealing money from the first movie, where in this movie everyone thinks like the reason Simon's doing all these riddles and stuff is to get revenge on John McClane, but really he's just distracting him while they go and rob a bank full of gold. So I think that's a great callback and great narrative through line from the first movie, apart from it being Hans Gruber's brother. But I think, yeah, Jeremy Irons is great. I think he's the second best. He's the second best villain behind Hans, because while he is absolutely great, I don't think anyone will come close to Hans personally. So, but yeah, I think the action is great. I think there's some great stuff, like that scene of him in the tunnel with the bulldozer as the water's coming and him just reversing out of there is great. The scene with the train as well, when the train blows up and it goes sliding through the subway station, is fantastic and just so damn cool that they did most of that practically. And then you've also got the action scene on the boat, and that's pretty good. The climax for this movie is a bit weird. I think it does bring it down a tiny bit, where it's like, if it does feel like it sets up the movie to be like the fact that Simon gets away at the end. But then they kind of just tack on a sort of ending to be like, oh no, we're gonna make it so he actually does catch up with and get away. So there's this whole third act that's set like in Canada, just for like the last like maybe 5 or 10 minutes of the movie, where they catch up to Simon's group and then swiftly take him out. So it's a bit anticlimactic, and I think that's because they were trying to figure out what ending they would use, because I think they had a different ending planned, which I think you couldn't actually view. There's a deleted scene that they actually filmed of, I believe it's like several months after Simon gets away and they're in some other country, and then John McClane finds him, and it's just a simple just like exchange talk, and then John just shoots him. So it's interesting they had different endings planned, but it does feel like, yeah, this climax that they chose does feel a bit tacked on, because it feels like the climax is like the boat, or the chase that leads up to the boat, and then after that it just really lulls down for like a bit, and then we then tack this on for 5 minutes of where we suddenly just catch up with the bad guys and take them out. So that sort of brings it down a tiny bit, but it doesn't ruin the movie at all. I think it's still great. We'll get to it in the next one, but this is either my second or my third favorite of the franchise. So yeah, Die Hard with a Vengeance, great comeback, great sequel. Then we've got Live Free or Die Hard, or Die Hard 4.0 as it was called outside the US, because I think people didn't really understand the New Hampshire saying of Live Free or Die Hard, because that's a US exclusive thing. But anyway, I think Live Free Die Hard is a better name, so I'm just going to call it that. So yeah, Live Free or Die Hard. I've rewatched this recently, and I love it. It's so damn good. I think this is really where the franchise should have ended. I understand a lot of people's criticisms with it, of course, being a PG-13 or M equivalent rated movie and not MA. Although, as you can see here, all the Die Hard movies here in Australia, including the first, second and third, are all rated M here, even though they're rated R in America. So our rating system is just built different sometimes. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, sometimes it's whatever. But anyway, I do understand that a lot of people don't like the fact that it's the it's PG-13 and not R, with John McClane not swearing, or there's no blood or really bloody violence and stuff. But personally, I think it's fine. It still feels like Die Hard. Personally, like, John McClane is still the wisecracking cop as always, except now he's a bit older, of course. I think the action is great. I think it's absolutely phenomenal. Like, some of the I will say, yeah, some of the stunts are a bit sort of crazy and sort of a bit over the top and a bit of a far cry from Die Hard's original appeal, being just like this vulnerable cop who was just in this situation and was only had a couple of tools to like use to like take out these terrorists and stuff. So I'm mainly talking about the helicopter scene as well as the fighter jet scene, because those do feel, I will say, they do get a bit outlandish, but the thing is, they're so damn cool that I'm fine overlooking those, because I think for the most part, John McClane is still really good. This introduces a new partner for him in the term with Justin Long playing Matt, who's like this hacker type guy. I think the decision to set this with it being modern times and in a world of like cybersecurity and all this being all about cybersecurity is fantastic. I think the dynamic with John and Matt is great, because they have a flip dynamic where John knows how to like punch bad guys and stuff, but he doesn't know how to actually use all this tech stuff, whereas Matt knows how to all this tech stuff through and through, but he is absolutely a wimp when it comes in terms of fighting. So they both need each other for both things. So yeah, I think that's great. I think Mary Elizabeth Winstead as Lucy McClane is a great addition. Like, even though for the most part she pretty much plays a damsel in distress and is only shown in the first few minutes of the movie, and then only comes back in the third act. I think she's really memorable and iconic in the movie. Timothy Olyphant as Thomas Gabriel as the villain. I really like him. He's definitely my third favorite. I mean, I think he's better than the one from 2, but he's not as good as Hans and Simon. But I think it's interesting to go for a different villain with the dynamic with John and Matt, where like Thomas Gabriel's all about his ego, about he can do all this stuff from a computer, and he thinks he's just so brilliant and so clever and stuff. But as soon as John McClane gets hands on him, he's going to get absolutely wrecked, because he does not know how to fight. But I think, yeah, Timothy Olyphant gives a great performance, and I think Thomas Gabriel is a really good, memorable villain. I think also the cinematography is really cool and really surprising. I think it just sort of makes me wish movie blockbusters were filmed like that cold sort of bluish sort of tone a lot. Everything just feels so, it makes everything look so very real and gritty and down to earth. I already talked about the action before, but I did want to mention the one fight scene in the chilling tower with John and that parkour guy. The way that's filmed is just, damn, that's so well done. That's so cool. Like, the way the camera flips as the guy zooms around as the guy's flipping about. I think it's just, the action is just filmed so damn well in this movie. I think it's just done. It's everything's, a lot of it's just so memorable and stuff. And of course it climaxes with that awesome scene of John driving the semi-trailer and then jumping onto a fighter jet. Of course, absolutely ridiculous and sort of a bit out of tone of Die Hard's sort of gritty tone, but I still think it's damn cool, and it doesn't last too long, so I think it's okay to sort of have a little bits and bobs of that. So Die Hard, Live Free or Die Hard, probably tied with Transformers as the most 2007 movie ever, because there's a lot of just like talk about how modern cyber technology is, as well as the way everything looks. Like, everything just looks straight out of 2007. So I guess you could say it kind of dates the movie a bit, but I think it's just a perfect time capsule of what that time was. And I think just the modern look of it is just so damn good. So yeah, I understand people don't like this one a whole lot, but I think it's great, and it's where the franchise really should have ended. Which leads us into A Good Day to Die Hard. Like, I mean, The only reason I have this was because it was included in the bundle, because basically I think it was Die Hard 2 and 3 were out of print, the regular Blu-rays, so that was the only way I could get them in this bundle, so that meant I had to get this. I've only watched this once. I don't think it's terrible, but it's easily the worst. Like, it's still a bad movie. Like, I've only watched this once. I don't know if I'll ever watch it again, to be honest. I think Live Free or Die Hard is just the perfect stopping point. From what I remember, like, I think the chemistry between Bruce Willis and Jai Courtney is just non-existent. Like, they just make Jai Courtney just an absolute, just generic sort of version of his son. Like, just, and like, they have not really much chemistry compared to the other partners from the other Die Hard movies. I think from memory, I can't remember the plot of this too much, but there's not really, I don't think there's much of a villain from memory, is there? Like, it's just Russian henchmen guys, and I think it's like, there's supposed to be, I think from memory, there might actually be one guy who's an ally to them at first, but then is revealed to be a bad guy later on, but then he gets killed off in a few seconds later. But yeah, this just doesn't have the Die Hard flair to it that 1 to 4 have. Like, this just feels like Bruce Willis just doing another one of those cheap straight to DVD movies, but they slapped the Die Hard name on it and just named him John McClane, because it just doesn't feel like it. So yeah, not going to talk more about this. Just, yeah, I have it here only because it was included in a bundle. But yeah, it's crap, shouldn't exist, and it definitely should have ended with Live Free or Die Hard. Which is a shame too, now that Bruce Willis has retired from acting, that this is basically the legacy of Die Hard is it ends on this absolutely shite film. So unfortunate, but I don't really have to watch it, even though I've got it in the Blu-ray collection, so I can just pretend Live Free or Die Hard was the end, which I do. All right, moving on. You might have noticed I have added a bit of lighting here, because I kind of noticed when I was looking back on the footage that my hand casts quite a big shadow over the Blu-ray, so it can be kind of hard to see at times. So I'm just going to try having a light sort of shine here, so maybe so you can actually see the Blu-rays a bit better. But yeah, anyway, moving on, we now have Django Unchained. I mean, this is personally my favorite Quentin Tarantino movie. I think it's just a fantastic Western, and just so emblematic of what Tarantino does so well, where he builds like so much tension through his dialogue, have these long drawn out like dialogue heavy scenes, and then it all comes to a climax in a massively bloody over the top fashion. And I think that's very emblematic of Django Unchained. Everyone in this film is top notch. Jamie Foxx as Django is a great character that you instantly root for. Slave turned bounty hunter. Like, how much cooler can you get with that premise? Christoph Waltz is absolutely fantastic. It's so crazy the range he has, where compared to the previous Quentin Tarantino movie he did, which was Inglourious Bastards, he plays just such an evil person as the Jew hunter. But then in this movie, he is just the nicest guy ever. Like, he's such a good guy, and it's crazy, and it's just so cool to see Christoph Waltz going from just the range he has, where he can play an absolutely despicable bad guy to a really awesome good guy. So yeah, Leonardo DiCaprio is fantastic as well, on top form. That scene when he slams his hand on the desk and cutting himself IRL with the glass is just so gripping. Samuel L. Jackson is great. He's on top form, and just, it's such an interesting character, where he, of course, him being a black person, but he's also in charge. He's among the rich elite of Candyland, but then as you start to find out, he's pretty much also essentially just a servant or a slave to Leonardo's Calvin Candy. The action is absolutely fantastic. That shootout at Candyland Mansion, oh my word, like boy howdy, that is pretty satisfying to see a bunch of racists just get absolutely decimated. And then you've also got the great final fight, well, the final shootout. Well, it's more like just a massacre of Django just wiping out all the remains of Candyland and freeing the two servants as well as his wife. So, yeah, this is my personal favorite Quentin Tarantino movie. I know a lot of people prefer his stuff back in the 90s, which was like his heyday. And there's definitely, his 90s stuff is definitely up there. But personally for me, this was the first Tarantino movie I watched, and I was like, this is probably my favorite Western. So yeah, fantastic film. Now we have Dunkirk, one of the only other war movies I have in the collection. So this movie is actually interesting. So when I actually first watched this movie on, like, I think on Netflix or something, I remember watching it, and the final bit scene, well, the final sort of the conclusion of the movie, the shot of Tom Hardy's plane, like, drifting across the beach as he's like going in for like a crash landing because he's running out of fuel. I remember seeing that and I was like, when I get a 4K player, that is the first 4K movie I'm going to get. And so when I got a PS5 a couple of years, went up to JB Hi-Fi, and this was the first one I bought. So because I think just that visual shot just struck out to me, of him just like gliding sort of over the sun, and it's just absolutely beautiful. Of course, it's made by Christopher Nolan, so that's why it looks so damn beautiful. But yes, so I think the movie itself is pretty damn good. I think it's interesting for him to go for having pretty much like a silent protagonist the whole way through, and you're just seeing this guy just journeying, trying to get out of Dunkirk, and just seeing just how devastating everything is, and just how it's chaotic and just miserable it is over there. I think the subplot of the guy and his two his students, I can't remember, but the two guys, they take the boats to go and assist in the soldiers. I think that's pretty damn good. And so, yeah, Harry Styles is in this, and he's actually not too bad. I think he's okay. He's all right. I mean, I'm not well versed in Harry Styles too much. I just know he was big One Direction that he tried, and now he's trying to do acting. But I thought he was all right in this. Yeah, the 4K looks absolutely phenomenal. Like, it absolutely looks fantastic, which of course makes sense because Nolan really brings it with his 4K releases. So, yeah, Dunkirk, first ever 4K I picked up, and a good damn war movie. Then we move on to the Evil Dead franchise, starting of course with the classic The Evil Dead. Evil Dead is fantastic. I love it. I only got into it like in the recent couple of years. I mainly grew up through Sam Raimi, of course, with Spider-Man and stuff. But then eventually, as I was trying out horror in the past like 5 or 6 years, I was like, let's give Evil Dead a try. And it is in my top 5 favorite horror franchise, and I'd probably say at this point is the only consistent horror franchise, or maybe the most consistent franchise ever that's more than 3 movies, I think, because I would have said Scream as well was shamed the same bar, but from what I've heard about Scream 7, I think that's lost its equal footing. So I think as of now, Evil Dead is the most consistent franchise, because there is not a bad movie in this franchise. What we got? We got 5 movies, and there's no bad one. So yeah, first off, the original. To be honest, this is my least favorite. This just shows how good this franchise is, where the first movie is still great, but it's my least favorite. I think personally for me, I like Evil Dead for, Ash and the over-the-top, like, crazy, the comedy, the blend of mixed of horror and stuff, and just how gnarly things could get. Of course, this is where it all started and originated that, and I think that's good. But personally for me, like, this was always the one where it feels a bit like, all right, we've got to watch this to get to Evil Dead 2, which is like the Ash that I really like, is the main drawing point. Because in this movie, Ash is just like a standard like horror movie final guy, where he's got not much agency. He doesn't have too much of an interesting personality, but I think it's still a great film. I think technically what Sam Raimi was able to do with this film, I believe him and Bruce Campbell literally dropped out of, I can't remember if it's film school or high school to make this movie, but they dropped out of some school to make this movie, and boy did it pay off, because while I'm not a massive fan of like the characters in this one and such, the effects are fantastic. Just the classic corn syrup that they probably used, and just like the practical makeup on all the gore and blood and stuff, and it's just, oh boy, it's like absolutely maddening, and just like innovative and just crazy that it came from these guys who were in their early 20s who just wanted to make this movie. And you can see a lot of amateurness in it, and it gives it all the more charm. Like, for example, the scene at the beginning where you've got the tracking shot from behind of the car. You see the branches are like hitting the camera. I think it adds that authenticity of just how grungy and sort of it sort of gives that sort of realistic sort of vibe to it a bit, and all more better. So yeah, I think also one big sort of controversial scene is I think it's Linda's scene with the trees, with the tree vine going up her leg, and it's like, yeah, it is a bit gnarly. Like, and I think Sam Raimi, expressed that he would have preferred to tone that down a bit, because it does feel very, very assault-like. So that always gives me a bit of the heebie-jeebies when I rewatch it. But anyway, I think, yeah, this first movie, I understand it's imitative, this set the stage for everything, and it's a great movie, but personally, I just prefer every other movie better, but that's just me. Then we've got Evil Dead 2, which is my second favorite of the franchise. This is people's favorites, but this is just scrapes by at the number 2 position. It's close to being number 1, but not quite. As you can see here, this is the UK release, because they did release the 4K of Evil Dead 2 in Australia. However, it sold out like very quickly, I believe, after it came out. Like, it came out, I think maybe like around 2017 or 2018 or something, and it sold out so quickly that I believe when I went to look up to see if we had it, I didn't think we actually got Evil Dead 2 4K. I only thought we just got the standard Blu-ray release, but then I looked it up and apparently no, we did get the 4K. It just sold out so quickly. So I've never seen it listed anywhere, like not even for just insane prices, just nowhere. I've never seen it listed before. So I was like, screw it, I'll get the UK release, because also the other thing is the Australian release had a different cover art, whereas the UK kept the poster art. So I was like, I kind of prefer the poster art to be aligned with the other movies, because all the other movies have the poster art. So I'm all right with getting the UK release. So yeah, so short story short, I got the UK release. But anyway, Evil Dead 2. Yeah, it's a fantastic, the perfect blend of comedy and horror. Just so Bruce Campbell is fantastic in this. I think how much he has to dedicate himself to doing all the slapstick comedy is just absolutely fantastic. I think making it a remake / retelling of the first movie is interesting. Understandable why they did it, considering apparently they couldn't get the rights to do the first film. So I believe Bruce Campbell, I think, has said like the perfect way to watch it is basically all of Evil Dead, the recap of Evil Dead 2 is just all of Evil Dead 1, and then at the end of that film, you just watch from the point when Ash gets flung out into the forest and into the water, and that's where Evil Dead 2 really starts. So that's apparently the preferred watch. That's the way to watch it if you want to watch it chronologically. But yeah, I think, yeah, it's great. This is when Ash evolves into his awesome, just badass self with the chainsaw. We start to get his iconic catchphrases like groovy, and such. Character of Annie is interesting. I think it's cool to get a character who's actually sort of tangibly related to what was going on in this cabin, where this archaeologist was like uncovered like the Book of the Dead and started reading out loud, and it possessed his wife. So I think that's sort of an interesting idea. I think, yeah, it's really mostly the Bruce Campbell show, and he excels so much in this movie, just having to do so much of so much slapstick comedy of just whacking himself with plates. Of course, he also has to chop off his own hand. I mean, I'm not IRL, of course. And then the hand just like starts attacking him and giving him the finger and stuff. And it's just so funny and just so awesome. And then, of course, you got him when he plays Evil Ash, like Deadite possessed Ash. And he's just on so top form here. So yeah, Evil Dead 2, fantastic film. I can see why definitely it's considered the best of the franchise, but it's not my personal favorite. That would be Army of Darkness. This is my personal favorite of the franchise. I think, sure, it's pretty much abandons most of the horror aspect, but my word, I love this movie. It's so good. I think you can definitely tell that Sam Raimi got a bigger budget for this one compared to the first two movies, because there's just so much grander spectacle in this. I think the decision to have Ash travel back in time to medieval times and fight with King Arthur and stuff against Deadites is an amazing premise. This is the movie that Ash really like cements himself. Like this is peak Ash right here. You got all the amazing catchphrases in this movie. Like, this is my boomstick.
This is my boomstick.
And of course, hail to the king, baby.
Hail to the king, baby.
He's just so damn awesome in this movie. He's just so cool. The practical effects are great, like especially the end with the big Deadite skeleton army coming in to lay siege to the castle. I think that's great. I even really like the funny multiple ashes bit where like there's all these mini like Deadite ashes. I think they're supposed to be Deadite ashes. They all like trap real Ash and like just dive into his mouth and then give birth to evil Ash, which, I mean, I've seen a fan theory that the Deadite Ash in this movie is supposed to be the same one from Evil Dead 2. And so I think I kind of agree with that. I think that's kind of an interesting way to look at it. So, but yeah, this one is a lot more comedic. Crazy that this movie was called Army of Darkness and not what Sam Raimi wanted to be called it, which was The Medieval Dead. But apparently Universal was like, nah, you got to make it a new title. And as a result of that, it didn't do too well at the box office. But yeah, this is my favorite Evil Dead film. I think just that final act particularly of Ash leading King Arthur's army and the castle just against the Deadite army is just absolutely fantastic. And so yeah, great film and great, amazing. This is actually just the standard Blu-ray because here in Australia we haven't got the 4K yet, because this is the Via Vision copy. So this is just a standard Blu-ray, but it does come with 3 cuts. It comes with the original cut, the director's cut, which had the alternate ending of Ash sleeping past the present time and waking up in a dystopian future. And then there's also something called the television cut, which I've never heard of before. So I'll be interested to check out. I think maybe they changed some scenes around, like with the director's cut, where as well as changing the ending, they changed some of the jokes and iconic lines around. So, but yeah. Then we move on to Evil Dead. Not the Evil Dead, Evil Dead. So this is the sort of, it's kind of a reboot or retelling or remake of the first movie, but for all intents and purposes, it works as just being set in the same universe as Evil Dead, considering especially this movie and the next movie established there are multiple Necronomicons. So anyway, this movie, oh boy, it's great. I really did enjoy it, but this might be the goriest movie I've ever seen. That might be a bit lighthearted weight, considering I've seen stuff like all Saw films and stuff. But for me personally, this is ridiculously gory, to the point where I had to like conjure up the strength to watch this movie, because I'd seen clips of it and shots from this movie and I was like, boy, that looks really, really nasty, and oh boy, it is. So it's going to be easier for me to watch this, considering I've watched it a couple of times, but that first time, I think I watched this right before Evil Dead Rise came out, so I'd watched every other Evil Dead film, but I hadn't watched this one because I was just like, this might be a bit too gory, a bit too nasty for me. But I managed to tough it out, and I'm very glad I did, because this is a great movie. It is a lot of retelling of the first movie, but with different characters. I think the characters are mostly all right. I think Mia is really the standout. I think what I really love about this movie, of just how clever it portrays, it flips the traditional final girl dynamic, where basically this is the movie where this is a horror movie where the final girl is the first one to get possessed / murdered, technically. And then basically throughout the whole movie, she's like possessed and stuff. And then at the end of the movie, she gets unpossessed and she then becomes the traditional final girl. I think that's just absolutely genius. I think Fede Alvarez really was cooking there to make something stand out. Man, it's just, I don't know why that's just so clever to me, but it just is. I think because it's just so different and just such a cool idea to have the main protagonist get possessed, then get unpossessed, and then rises to defeat the evil at the end. So yeah, in terms of the other characters, they're okay. I mean, that guy, man, why the hell did you decide to read that book that's covered in barbed wire and full of just gory just images made of blood? Like, come on, dude, surely you're smarter than that, but I guess not. But yeah, this movie just looks, it's just visually it's just visually nasty, cruel, vile. Like, this also retains some type of comedy, more like really dark and messed up comedy, in the terms of the Deadites, where they just make these absolutely sick comments and sick jokes about like the characters and stuff. It's just like really gnarly. So I might be overstating it, or maybe I'm understating it, because I mean, my word. I mean, look at this. It's rated R18 here in Australia, and not many movies get rated R. Well, there's plenty of movies that get rated R, but when there's an R-rated movie coming out, and especially a horror film, that's going to be quite nasty. So, yeah, Evil Dead, it's great. I think it's great. That climax is so damn cool, where it starts raining blood, and then Mia, who I think she also loses her hand, traditional in Nash sense, and then of course she uses a chainsaw and just rams it through the big demigod type deadite through the head, and it's just so gloriously, so disgustingly satisfying. So yeah, Evil Dead, a great retelling and a great standalone remake on its own that can go toe-to-toe with the original, and to be honest, I think it's a better retelling of the original. So yeah, Evil Dead 2013, glorious movie I've ever seen, but damn, is it a whole lot of fun. Then we move on to Evil Dead Rise, which is the latest Evil Dead film. I think this is equally great. I think it's not, I'm not sure if I would class this as good as Evil Dead 2013, but I think it might be just below that. But I still think this is a great film. That title card is amazing. Like, I know everyone really, the big thing that everyone shouts praise for this movie is that title card, and there is a reason why that is so highly praised, because it's just so damn cool looking. But the rest of the movie is great. I think the setting of moving away from the standard sort of cabin in the woods to making it an apartment is great. I think the apartment looks great. It just looks like an absolute crap hole, and you can really tell this thing's going to be demolished soon. I think the family is pretty good. I think they're all captivating. I think they're good characters and makes them not want to die. And I'm surprised how many people get killed off. Mainly, like, spoiler alert for this movie, only one of the 3 kids actually makes it out of this movie. So I was quite surprised that they were like, oh, we're gonna actually kill 2 kids. I mean, sure, like the two kids that get killed are basically teenagers, so that it's not as gruesome and messed up as killing off like maybe like a 10-year-old, but it's still I was like, whoa, what the hell, really? Jeez. So yeah, I think the actress who plays Beth's sister, their mum, is so damn good. She captures that the Deadites so well, and their sick sense of humor. Like, there's so many just cruel, just like either manipulative or just really awfully poor taste jokes that she says throughout this movie, and I think it's great. I think the decision to make the Book of the Dead more an actual vinyl is kind of interesting, and I think it's sort of cool to have this backstory about this church of like priests and stuff from like the early 1900s discover this, and like they record themselves talking, reading the book out loud. I mean, same thing with the other movie. Like, why on earth would you play that record? Like, it's just like you're just waiting for something bad to happen. But anyway, so yeah, I think this one is great. I think just the fact that most of this, like a lot of this movie, is just set, not even just the apartment, it's just set in their personal like area, their personal apartment, I think is just really, really captivating. And then of course they then descend down to the lift, and then you've got the whole Shining thing where it fills up with blood and stuff. And then of course you get that really great scene where Beth takes the chainsaw to the Deadites, who have like merged into like one being, which is I think really, really cool and looks really nasty and messed up. So yeah, and I like also how they sort of recontextualize with the beginning, where you find out the beginning of the movie actually takes place after this movie, and so it's all you see at the ending how it leads into the opening of the movie. So very interesting. But yeah, Evil Dead Rise, damn good, and I'm very much looking forward to Evil Dead Burn coming out at the end of this year. So yeah, and that's closed the Evil Dead movies. So banger movies, most consistent horror franchise, and maybe the most consistent franchise in all movies. So yeah. Then we have Fallout. This was actually the first 4K TV show I got, because I got the Penguin for Christmas, but I got this for my birthday last year by my lovely friends, so thank you to them. So yeah, Fallout Season 1, it's great. I think when this came out, I was just sort of getting into Fallout. I think the show had released all its episodes, but I'd been dabbling in maybe trying out Fallout. So the first game I played was Fallout 4. So I played this like maybe a couple of months after this wrapped, and so then after I beat and played through Fallout 4, I went back and watched this. And so yeah, it's a great season. I think this is a very good adaptation of the show. Well, really, it's technically a continuation of the games, really, because it's set in the same universe as the games. So I think the decision to have 3 separate protagonists is a great idea, since it really emphasizes the RPG-ness of Fallout, where you can just be anyone. So you can be like, say, like a vault dweller who's just coming out of a vault and trying to find her dad, or you're a Brotherhood of Steel member who's trying to prove his worthiness and become a proper knight, or you can be a ghoul who is a gunslinger and bounty hunter who's searching for his family. So, you know, like, it highlights just how diverse like this world is and what you can be like in the games. So I think that was a really damn good decision. I think the effects looks great. The way it's shot is visually awesome. I think Amazon did a great job, and I think also Jonathan Nolan is a showrunner on this, who is Christopher Nolan's brother, and he also did other TV shows like the first season of Westworld and stuff. So he's known for having some really good things, and I think this first season is damn good. I think just introducing this world, showing all these characters, having everything just like be an absolute awful place everywhere. Just everyone's a douchebag. Everyone's just trying to survive. It's just really great. So yeah, Fallout Season 1, damn good. Season 2, I watched as it came out, and while I did enjoy it, I don't think it was as good as this first season. But yeah, once I get the Season 2 4K, I'll talk more about that season. But yeah, so yeah, Fallout Season 1, damn good show. Then we move on to Fight Club on Blu-ray, which is the 10th anniversary edition, because I decided to pick it up because I found it at a Salvation Army store, and it was only like, $3. I was like, I'll get it, because there's been no word of a 4K release being actually confirmed until literally like a week or two later when they confirmed it. So I'm like, oh well, I guess that's what I made my sacrifice there with getting the Blu-ray, so that the universe would conjure up an announcement. But anyway, yeah, Fight Club, it's really damn good. I need to watch it again. I've only watched it once, so I thought I'd pick it up because I do like David Fincher's movies. So I thought I'd pick it up. I think from memory, I remember really quite liking it. Tyler Durden, I think from memory that's his name. Yeah. Of course, is the seed still, although I really appreciate Edward Norton's character here when he's like, when everything just hits the fan and he just realizes what is happening around him. He tries to like stop what's happening and get out, basically. And I think I really appreciate that, where he's sort of been like, where he's been, just wrapped up in just this whole, just like culture thing with all these guys, where they just eventually start doing just mass riots and stuff. So anyway, I did unfortunately know the twist going in that Edward Norton's character and Tyler Durden were the same character, because this movie has been out for so long and it's seen as one of the best twists. So unfortunately I knew that going in, but it still didn't really take away my enjoyment. I thought it was just really cool to see how, how you could watch it and be like, oh, you could definitely see Tyler, that they're supposed to be the same character. Tyler Durden's just a split personality. So, but yeah, this is of course another movie that has been sort of taken by the sort of manosphere culture war bros who view this as like the ideal man fantasy, even though it's really not. So, but I think, yeah, it's a great movie, great commentary on like toxic masculinity. Could define it as that. So, yeah, so I need to give this a rewatch because I've only watched it once, and given that I got the Blu-ray, I do want to watch it again. So, yeah, Fight Club, great movie from what I remember. Then we've got one of the other DVDs I have, which is Finding Nemo. This is actually my original DVD copy that I think I watched, where I watched it the first time. So you see, yeah, 2-disc collector's edition. So this is back when companies put actual effort into their physical media releases, because DVD was seen as the format to watch movies on at home back then. So yeah, this DVD is so old now. Like, I mean, old, I say, when this came out in like 2003 or so. So maybe just that makes people feel old, but I was only 1 year old when this came out. So, but yeah, Finding Nemo, it's fantastic Pixar movie, just absolutely great. A great coming of age story for both Marlin and Nemo, and just a really fun adventure. Really nice that we get some Aussie representation, with, of course, the objective about Marlin trying to get to Sydney, because Nemo's been taken there to be owned by the dentist's crazy, scary daughter. So, but yeah, I think this is just a great movie about a father and his son, where you completely understand where Marlin is coming from. Like, sure, he's so needily overprotective, but you do get it, considering Nemo is the only surviving kid he's got after that fish killed both his wife and his other kids. So you completely get it, but at the same time, you're also on Nemo's side, where he's like, stop coddling him. Just let him do what he wants. Just let him have a bit of free reign for a bit. Don't constantly just like rein him in and keep a hold on him. Like, let him go free for a tiny bit. So yeah, it's a fantastic movie, fantastically emotional. Bruce the shark is hilarious, and then towards like the middle part, very scary when he gets his taste blood. Like, oh boy, that was pure nightmare fuel as a kid. Dory is great. I think she's funny, and how she is just she just forgets like the last few things she remembers. And then of course you get very emotional when she doesn't remember her family and stuff, which is what Pixar does so damn well. Just like they have the comedy and stuff of a kids movie, but they have the emotional impact for the kids and adults to where they can view it both as a damn good time. So yeah, I need to get this on, upgrade this to Blu-ray, because man, this is a beautiful, beautiful film, and just one of the peaks of Pixar during its absolute peak era during the 2000s. So yeah. Then we've got Five Nights at Freddy's. Oh boy. Okay, so my history with FNAF or Five Nights at Freddy's is I was pretty much there in the heyday. Like, I was the prime target audience of when this all exploded up. When the first one came out, yeah, I was maybe like 12 or 13, so yeah, prime time to be a FNAF fan. I watched all the videos. I didn't watch too much MatPat. I was mainly just watching the gameplay videos with like Markiplier and stuff and things, so yeah. And then I eventually, of course, if you actually go back down my channel, if you look at the Lego Doctor Who 1993 playlist that I have included in my channel bio, or the playlists, I can't remember where, you can actually find when I did a playthrough of this, of Five Nights at Freddy's 2, where I beat pretty much all 5 nights of that game, which I'm still kind of proud of, because that game's bloody difficult. So yeah, I think I've always had a history with Five Nights at Freddy's. Pretty much by, I think, it was FNAF, was it Pizzeria Simulator? I think by that point I'd sort of fallen out of grace, because I got older and I was like, I like other stuff, and like this, like, I think at that point in this period of time, I was very much, I think when Five Nights at Freddy's came out, I sort of latched onto that as my video game franchise, because I never really had a favorite video game franchise. Like, I did like video games and such, but there was never a franchise that I gravitated to that I really loved. And for that point at the start, it was FNAF. But by the time FNAF 6 had come out, I think by that point I was graduating high school. I'd found Resident Evil, which became my video game series. So I sort of fell out of love with this. So yeah, and then as just time went on, I was just like, yeah, these games are just not great. Like, I think the first 2 games I think are really good, just point and click sort of horror games. 3 is 4 I never really played that much, but I thought that was interesting, even though it's basically the same game again. It's just the location, I think, actually spiced up really well by actually having you do different things and go to different rooms. And then Pizza Simulator, I was just like, that's a good end. Don't need to do more. And of course they did more. And so I think it was after that, I was just like, yeah, I don't care about this. So yeah, basically my thoughts on general FNAF is, I'm just like, yeah, it's more a childhood like nostalgia thing rather than something I enjoy now. So why do I have this? Well, my sister gave it to me for Christmas. So yeah, this first movie, it's fine. Like, it's not amazing. It's not even really that good. I think it's fine. I think I knew from the moment they announced this was going to be rated PG-13/M that they were only doing that because if they wanted to make a proper true traditional, or like a proper true to form FNAF movie, that means most of its target audience wouldn't be able to see it. So I understand why they did it, but it doesn't, yeah, it's not really an effective horror movie at all. Which I mean, I went in expecting not many that scares, and there's not really many. Like, the only one I think that is that creepy is the bit where the girl like moves her head towards the spring-trap skeleton head. That's like the only creepy bit. But yeah, this movie I think is just, it's okay. It's just very middle of the road. A lot of stuff just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. I think, to be fair, Josh Hutcherson as Mike is great. I think he's pretty good, as well as Abby, and Vanessa's okay. I think it's just, I do appreciate actually trying to tell a straightforward, mostly straightforward story. I think that's why I preferred this one compared to the second movie, which is just, oh boy, that second movie really is a dumpster fire. But yeah, I do appreciate that this one was actually trying to tell a coherent story, because of course the main draw for FNAF is all the lore and stuff and how convoluted it is, which for me personally, while I thought that was cool back then, now I'm just like, it just feels so confusing and all over the place, and it really you could really tell Scott Cawthon was just making it up as he went along. So I do appreciate here where the writers had to come together and actually write a straightforward story where you can make a sense of at least most of the plot. Like you can pretty much make sense of most of the plot, even if there's just so many different weird things that happen. So, but yeah, we'll say though, the standout of this movie is Matthew Lillard. He absolutely kills it as William Afton, even though he appears like only for like a bit at the beginning and then shows up at the end. But that's more appearance than in the second movie. So yeah, this movie, it's all right. I mean, to be fair as well, the 4K, I think, I haven't actually watched this on 4K yet, but I imagine it's actually pretty good, because the other thing I will actually also say about this movie is the animatronics look fantastic. Like, they look ripped straight out of the games. The choice to make their eyes red and not have have the white sort of iris, I think, is a bit of a shame, because I think the white iris looks way more creepier, but the red eyes are like, meh. So, but I think the animatronics just look phenomenal. So I would actually also say they are also the other standout of this movie. So, but yeah, I think, yeah, when I watch this movie, if I ever rewatch this movie, I think I'll actually be like, okay, it actually looks pretty damn good. Like, because I remember when I watched it, I was like, this movie actually wouldn't actually be too bad on 4K. I think it would look pretty good. Can't say the same thing with another big video game movie that came out last year. So yeah, FNAF, first movie, it's fine. It's okay. So there's my whole ramblings on my thoughts of both this movie and just the franchise as a whole. So yeah, FNAF, meh, all right. Then moving on, we have Ghostbusters. This is one of the recent sort of pickups I got, mainly because I got the second movie first. But yeah, Ghostbusters is a classic. I mean, I only first watched this like, I mean, I say recently, but this is like more than 10 years ago. But yeah, like I only watched this maybe in like 2013 or something for the first time, but I've watched it a lot since, because we got the DVD, and like I said with Back to the Future, when we went on long car trips, we would always stick Back to the Future in, and sometimes we'd also stick Ghostbusters in. So, but yeah, Ghostbusters, I mean, it's the best one in the franchise. I don't think it really needed to be a franchise. I think it could have ended at 2 or as well as maybe Afterlife. But I think this movie is just fantastic. Classic, just pure 80s, just 80s fun. Everyone is just so damn good in this movie. Just really damn good. Just a really fun time, and just a perfect capulation of the 80s. Just so damn good. So I'm looking forward to checking this out on 4K. Then we've got Ghostbusters 2. This might actually be my other white whale in terms of rare Blu-rays I have. And I really only got this because I just saw it listed one day. So basically, this one is also similar to Evil Dead 2, where I never knew we got this here in Australia, because I thought we only just got just a regular standard Blu-ray. I never knew that this came out on 4K, but apparently it sold out so quickly that I've never seen it listed ever. Like I had like an email sort of notification on both CEX, which is a pre-owned sort of store, which is the same in the UK, as well as eBay. And for a list for, like, you know, email notifications to find out when a Blu-ray called Ghostbusters 2 would be listed. And so I'd always get these notifications from mainly eBay, and they'd always just not be this version of this copy of Ghostbusters. So yeah, I kept checking and I thought there's probably no way this is ever gonna, I'm never gonna see a listing of this, until one day on eBay I saw it and I was like, wow, that actually exists. Wow. So I bought it for probably a bit too much asking price, maybe around $50, which is kind of insane for a 4K, just a standard 4K. But considering I'd never seen this ever be listed before, I was like, all right, I'll bite the bullet and get it. So yeah, so I'm actually quite happy to have this, because to be honest, I enjoyed Ghostbusters too. When we watched the first movie, we got the second movie, but we didn't get it on DVD. We got it on iTunes. So that goes to show just how young I am, considering I have childhood memories of watching movies on iTunes. So I had it on iTunes, and I used to watch it a lot with the first movie. So I enjoy this one. It's definitely not as good as the first movie. It does try to just do a lot of the first movie again, with recycling plot beats and character beats and stuff. But I enjoy it. I think it's good fun, and stuff. So yeah, probably where the franchise should have ended, which it did for a long time. But from memory, I watched Afterlife once, and I thought, I think I was tolerant to it, to be like, okay, no more. Like that's a fine enough ending, but don't do any more. So when I heard that, so when they announced the fourth movie, Frozen Empire, I was just like, I'm not even going to watch that, because I don't think you don't need to turn Ghostbusters into a massive franchise. I know the first movie was a massive phenomenon and made so much money, but you really don't. So yeah, basically, either this or Afterlife, I'd say, is the ending of the franchise for me personally. But I'd have to rewatch Afterlife and might get it on 4K. But yeah, so yeah, Ghostbusters 2, enjoy it. I do enjoy it. Definitely not as good as the first movie, but still enjoyable. Then we move on to a run of very special DVDs, The Goodies. This is just an 8-episode collection, but I thought I'd show this off first, because this is how I got into The Goodies. So for those who don't know, this was a comedy show, came out back in the 70s, made by the BBC, about these three guys, Graham, Tim and Bill, who do anything, anytime, anywhere. Vague pitch for a TV show, but my word, it works. This for me was my Monty Python, essentially. This is what I watched. My dad showed me this and the rest of my siblings, and we just love it. It's so funny. This DVD set is how we got into it, and we used to watch all 8 of these episodes just religiously. It's just so damn funny. It's just absolutely hilarious. Some of the episodes here, what we got Tower of London, which is the first episode. That's really funny. Gender Education, which is a hilarious episode about making fun of, at the time, British censorship activist Mary Whitehouse. What else we got? We got Kitten Kong, probably the most iconic scene of The Goodies, with Twinkle the kitten, the giant kitten, climbing up the London's post office tower. I think that is, when people think of The Goodies, that is that's what they think of. The Goodies and the Beanstalk, that's a fun one. That's a fun, like, very long episode. I believe it was supposed to be like a special or something, but that's really funny. Kung Fu Capers, probably my favorite episode, and also one of the most iconic ones, with Bill and Eki Thomp. In our household, we quote Eki Thomp a lot of times. So, and then Lighthouse Keeping Loonies, that might also be tied with my favorites, where Bill and Graham launch a lighthouse like a rocket and out into space. Euthanasia is a perfect budget episode about the world ending on Christmas Day. I think it's such a good and hilarious character work of all the characters. And then you've got Saturday Night Grease, which is a really funny movie about them trying to be John Travolta at Saturday Night Fever. So so The Goodies is just really funny. So I have loads of fond memories for it. So yeah, really, really funny. And this is what basically started my love for, along with Doctor Who, Thunderbirds, and this late sort of 20th century, 60s, 70s, 80s British TV. And this is where sort of my fondness for British comedy sort of came from. So basically, yeah, I think The Goodies, just absolutely hilarious show. If you love like Monty Python's Flying Circus, as well as other like 70s or 80s like British comedy, I think this will be right up your alley if you haven't checked it out. It's just so funny and so great. So, and great commentary on things that were happening at the time, like making fun of various people and stuff. So yeah, great show. Then we've got this, which is the final episodes, because I believe the show ran for like 9 seasons, but only 8 of those was with the BBC, and this final season was made, I think, was it ITV, possibly? But yeah, I think I got this because, yeah, I wanted to see the final season of The Goodies. And from what I remember, it's all right. It does feel completely different to the other seasons. Like, there's like everything is new sets, new title sequence, new theme and stuff. So it definitely feels very different from the first season. I've only watched this through once from memory. This is the last season they did, so which is a shame, but I guess they'd been doing it all throughout the whole of the 70s, so it was probably time to wrap it up. But still, it was really enjoyable, and I thought, yeah, this season, from what I remember, it's all right. Then we've got this, which is the complete BBC collection. So this collects seasons 1 to 8. So this is the first DVD like box set to include every episode, except of course the final season, because that wasn't made by the BBC. But this is the first to include every episode, because all the other DVDs that were released were only collections of specific episodes. So I was like, when this got announced, I was like, all right, I got to get it. So this is great. I started making my way through this, I think, but I sort of fell off after a bit. But the good thing about this show is, since there is no serialized storyline going on, it's just a new scenario every week, every episode, I could just jump straight back in. I wouldn't have missed a thing. I think I've watched only up to halfway through the 3rd season. I think there's some great other episodes in this. I think Radio Goodies is fantastic. A really funny episode where the Goodies start a pirate radio station on a boat. I think that's great. That's the Goodies. I love it. It's just such a good show. Really, I think this is why I come to love the TV show Always Sunny in Philadelphia a lot, because I first watched that maybe like a year or 2 ago, and I just absolutely loved it. And I think probably why was because of this show, because it is quite similar to this, where it follows a ragtag group of people who just do a job for anyone and for anything, except Always Sunny, all the people in the gang are just absolutely awful people. So, whereas the Goodies, where they're more nice, although Bill's a bit of a is the main arsehole in the group. But so yeah, I think that's sort of why I really enjoy the Goodie Always Sunny, because I see a lot of elements of the Goodies in it, even if they're not related at all and weren't inspired by it either. So yeah, yapping too long about the Goodies, but it's a great show, really funny. Check it out if you love classic BBC comedy or just British comedy in general. Then we have Goodfellas, which is regarded as Martin Scorsese's best movie. And from what I've seen, I would have to agree. I don't think any of his other movies are bad. I think this one is just so damn good. I think this is just the modern movie, because while Godfather is seen as the classic, it is classic in terms of it's of course set in like the 40s and stuff, while this is sort of set across like the 60s, 70s and 80s. So it's more a bit modernized. But yeah, when I first watched this, I found it kind of interesting, because I watched The Sopranos before this. So I watched all The Sopranos first. So when I came to watch Goodfellas, I was just like, this is just Sopranos the movie. Like, it is crazy how much is taken from this movie, to the point where a lot of the actors in this movie go on to play parts in The Sopranos. Like, of course, you've got Karen, who plays Dr. Melfi, Tony's therapist. You've got Spider, who plays, of course, Christopher Moltisanti. And then you've also got, I can't remember his name, but he's the old guy that harasses Tommy or makes fun of Tommy, and he ends up beating him and then shooting him. And like the guy they're burying at the beginning of the movie, that's the guy who plays Phil in The Sopranos. So it's crazy just how many characters and how many actors there, as well as character names, like the main boss at the beginning, Paulie. There's so much stuff that David Chase and others took from this movie that is like the blueprint for like modern movies. So yeah, I think it's very good and just really emblematic of what, like, you know, The Sopranos and stuff's like, where, especially through the eyes of Ray Liotta's character, Henry Hill, where he glorifies to be a mobster and wants the life and stuff. But when he gets deep into it, he realizes, oh boy, this is really bad. And you also see he just becomes an absolute douchebag and a horrible person as he becomes so entrenched in this mob life. So yeah, I think, yeah, it's great. The 4K release, this is often debated as being not a great transfer. And while I didn't have too much of a problem with it, I did notice it looking a bit too dark when Jimmy and Henry are like demanding the money from the guy in the store. Like, I remember watching that bit. It's like, yeah, it's very dark there, where I can't really make out sort of some parts of what's happening there. So there is a bit of sort of darkness in this. The transfer does look quite dark at times on this. So yeah, I think unfortunate, but I don't think it ruins the experience at all. I think it's still perfectly watchable and still perfectly fine on 4K. But yeah, I think it's interesting. I believe Goodfellas has had a reputation for having just a bad transfer every time it's been released on a new format, because I believe it's always one of the first ones that has to be brought out. Like, apparently the first DVD didn't look great. The first Blu-ray looked even worse. So yeah, Goodfellas has apparently had a bad track record of initial releases where the transfer just doesn't look that great. So, but yeah, personally for me, I think it's all right. I think I can live with it. I think, yeah, that point in the movie is the only time where it really, I notice it too much. So yeah, but yeah, Goodfellas, fantastic. Maybe my favorite mob movie, although the first Godfather is fantastic. So yeah, Goodfellas, a staple, and probably Martin Scorsese's best movie. So yeah. Moving on, we have Gravity on 3D Blu-ray. So when I found out I could play 3D Blu-rays on my PSVR, this was one of the first 3D Blu-rays I got, because I'd heard great things about this one, because I'd seen Gravity once. I think it was when it hit sort of digital storefronts. It might have been when this is going to be quite a flashback to this time, but I think we watched this on our first 3D Samsung TV on what was called the Big Pond store, like which was basically just Big Pond's equivalent of the Apple Store or the iTunes. So I think I remember we watched it on that for the first time. Didn't watch it in 3D, watched it on 2D because we only had 2 classes in the household, and the rest of the family watched it. But I remember really enjoying it. I mean, I was only 12 or 13 when this came out. So, but yeah, so I remember really liking it, and then I was like, you know what? I did like it. I've heard the 3D Blu-ray is great. Let's pick it up. So when I got it, I decided one night, whack my VR headset on, and I'd watch it in 3D. And my word, it doesn't look damn good. It looks phenomenal. Just the way everything feels, so the depth of everything, like all like the debris flying at you, just seeing space and just being above, seeing Sandra Bullock's character just being above Earth is just so immersive. It's just crazy. And it's just so gripping too, just so tense. Like you are like on the edge of your seat. The sound design is phenomenal. Like it's just so eerie and just like just goes to show how scary it would be if you were in this situation. Like it is absolutely terrifying. But as you see throughout the movie, like George Clooney has to reassure Sandra Bullock and get her to focus in, and it's like, this is a horrible situation, but you've really got to lock in if you want to survive. So yeah, great movie. I think I don't think this won best picture, did it? Did it win best picture? I can't remember. But it is a fantastic movie, a fantastic space movie, and just absolutely phenomenal, and just so damn good in 3D. It's like, this is the way to watch this movie in 3D. I believe they released a later copy that had Dolby Atmos attached to it, but I think that was only released in the US. But I'm just sort of really waiting for the 4K release that will hopefully eventually happen, because it's been rumored for a long time. But I'm very surprised they haven't came out with a 4K copy yet. But yeah, so looking forward to hopefully getting a 4K copy. But this 3D version is fantastic, at one of the best 3D movies you can watch. So yeah, great movie and great 3D. Then we've got Gremlins. I bought this last year in December because I wanted to rewatch Gremlins, because it's, of course, nearing Christmas. So I picked this up from the UK. If I had known that they would release a version of this in Australia literally like a week ago as the time of recording, I would have held off. But at the time, I didn't know that, so I got the UK release. But that's all right, because it's pretty much it's almost exactly the same version, even down to the cover art being the same. So yeah, so Gremlins, it's great. I love it. I only sort of watched this again sort of basically first time 10 years ago, and then as time's gone on, especially in recent years, I've sort of made this tradition to sort of try and watch this sort of every year around Christmas time. Just a really damn good monster movie, and really gnarly too. Like, this movie and Temple of Doom, I believe, were the reason why America introduced the PG-13 rating. So and you can definitely see in this movie, because it's just like the way the Gremlins like get absolutely taken out. Like, of course, the scene where the mum like puts a gremlin in the blender and then puts them in the microwave. It's just like, and they just explode into like gnarly, gross green saliva. It's like, if that was human, like, this would definitely get an R rating. So, but yeah, I think it's a great movie, great fun. The prosthetics and animatronics are great. I think Gizmo looks really damn good. The other Gremlins, like Spike and stuff, are great. Just a really good, just monster movie, and really got that Spielberg vibe to it, of course, because he was involved with it. He didn't direct it, but I believe he was like producer on it, and so they just slapped his name over it. But I think, what's his name? Who's the director of this? Joe Dante. Joe Dante deserves a lot of credit for this. So, and of course Chris Columbus, who wrote it. So yeah, this first movie is great. From memory, the second movie, I think I enjoyed it, even though it's completely ridiculous and over the top, and just how insane that second movie goes. But I think I remember I did enjoy it. And then they've announced a third movie, so that could be interesting. Hopefully it's a worthy sequel and not just more 80s nostalgia cash grab legacy sequels like a bunch of big 80s movies have gotten. So yeah. Gremlins, great. The 4K, I think, is good. This comes also with the standard Blu-ray, which I've actually heard is actually not great. I've heard it's a bit too dark, but I actually haven't watched it on the standard Blu-ray. I watched it on 4K. I've only watched this on 4K. So, and it looks pretty good. I think, yeah, the grain's still there and stuff. I think visually it looks all really good. So I'm happy to have this release. So yeah, Gremlins, great fun, great Christmas movie. Just a really good monster movie. Then we've got John Carpenter's Halloween. So this is actually very out of print now. This is the only way at the moment you can actually get the first movie on physical media, apart from the old DVD and VHS and stuff in Australia, because we never got either the new Shout Factory or the Lionsgate release of this. So basically, I was like, I could get the deluxe Shout Factory one, which comes with the 4K and the new transfer. But the thing is, that's a US only release. Then that means I can't watch the standard Blu-rays because they're region locked. So I probably should get around to getting a region free Blu-ray player. But for now, I was just like, I'll wait and see, especially now with reports that Shout Factory is apparently starting to release some 4Ks, some of their 4Ks in Australia now, which I've heard. So hopefully maybe they release the 4K of Halloween in this. But for now, I decided to pick this up, even though this is really now out of print. So this is the Umbrella release. So from the Boutique label. So yeah, this is really quite out of print. All to the point where, like, I think that I found out this actually has no subtitles on it. Like, I think it says somewhere down there, like, no subtitles available, which I was quite shocked by, because almost every Blu-ray I have has subtitles. But anyway, Halloween, I mean, it's a classic. It's really great. Again, like with all my other horror movies and most of these movies, I watched only them like maybe a couple of years ago. But yeah, I think it's great. I think just it's less a slasher movie and just a stalking movie, which, I mean, a lot of people, I imagine a lot of people feel, a lot of modern audiences would find this really tedious to watch, considering it is a lot of slow scenes of just Michael just stalking Laurie and her friends. Like, it's not very, like, it's not a very heavy kills. Like, I think only like maybe 4 or 5 people die in this movie. So, like, it's very, very things. But I think that works to its advantage of just being so tense, of just like, I mean, you see it, like, the scenes when Laurie looks out the window at school and sees Michael staring at her, or when her and her friends are walking down the street and she sees him by the bush, or when she sees him behind the clothesline, like, just like, it's so tense because it creates this paranoia of him just being around any corner. He could just be anywhere, and it's just so nerve-wracking to see. So yeah, I think it's expertly shot. The soundtrack is, of course, iconic. Just that piano synth is just so creepy and eerie. Donald Pleasance as Dr. Loomis is great. Yeah, fantastic movie. Definitely, of course, the best of the franchise. I mean, I've only dabbled a bit with the Halloween films. Like, I watched 3 Season of the Witch and Halloween H2O last Halloween. So those were my first times I watched those, and they were enjoyable. But for me personally, I think this movie and the 2018 movie are my personal favorites of the franchise, and the only one of the ones I've seen are 2, as well as the latest trilogy with Kills and Ends. So, but yeah, Halloween, first movie, fantastic, phenomenal, a staple, what really started the slasher genre, apart from Black Christmas, which I think came out a couple of years before this. So, but this really set the staple for slasher films, going into the 80s especially. So yeah, Halloween, fantastic movie. Looks pretty damn good on this Blu-ray, I will say. But yeah, no subtitles, or really, I don't think much special features. So it's quite a bare bones release, but this came out like 2012 or 2013, I believe. So this is quite old now, and there's much better ways you can watch this. But this is the only modern way you can watch it here in Australia. So for now, this will be my copy until I eventually probably get the Shout Factory release. Moving on, this is quite a tight shelf here. We move on to Harold and Kumar Escape Guantanamo Bay. I love these movies. I keep saying this so much, but I mean, it's true. I only watched this like a couple of, like, literally like maybe 2 years ago. for the first time. So yeah, this is the second movie, which is annoying because the first movie never got a Blu-ray release here in Australia. We only got the DVD, and the only Blu-ray release at the moment is the UK version. But like I said beforehand, US Blu-rays are region locked here in Australia. So only got the second and third movie, unfortunately. So, but yeah, Harold and Kumar, I just love. I'm a sucker for stoner movies. Like, I really do. I do enjoy them. They're just so stupid, but just so funny. So yeah, this movie, I mean, by the title, you know you're in for for a wild ride. I think it's just, I just really do enjoy it. Just so funny, just absolutely hilarious. I think, yeah, like Harold and Kumar are just absolutely a great duo and just great funny. One of the things that's very appreciative of this is it doesn't sort of go, it actually sort of defies sort of stereotypes a bit, because since Kumar's Indian, it sort of goes against like a lot of the standard sort of Indian stereotypes a lot of Hollywood movies go for, and so it just makes Kumar just a really just cool and funny guy mainly. And so yeah, I think, yeah, this movie is just great. It's just hilarious, just a really fun time, just a great journey where they have to go across the US to get their name cleared for being mistaken for terrorists. And you've got that hilarious guy who plays like the main was it CIA agent who is like pursuing them, and he's just so damn funny. Like the scene where he shows what he thinks of the Fifth Amendment is just, oh, I'm cracking myself up laughing at the scene, but go check it out if you haven't. But yeah, this movie is just so damn funny, and just this whole series is just really damn hilarious. So yeah, I have a blast with these movies. Not the best movies of all time, but anytime I just want to turn my brain off and have a good funny time, I just put this on because it's just so damn hilarious and so damn funny. Then we move on to a very Harold and Kumar 3D Christmas, the extra dope edition. So this is the latest movie, and for what was thought the final Harold Kumar movie, until it was announced, I believe, a year or two ago, that the creators behind Cobra Kai would be doing another Harold Kumar movie, which I'm very much looking forward to. But anyway, this movie, I think it's really funny. I think this has the most heart out of all of the movies, because it's this shows that Harold and Kumar have been have sort of drifted apart. Like, they no longer talk to each other. They haven't seen each other in years, and they've all sort of moved on to doing other things. So I think this is a great sort of coming back together story, and really funny, most high budget one of the trilogy. So yeah. The look of it is a bit weird. It does look a bit cheap at sort of times. I think that's due to the 3D cameras. Like, the way everyone, like, the movement is very smooth and stuff. But I think that's due to the 3D cameras that we're using. I picked this up on 3D Blu-ray because I was like, I'd actually heard the 3D was actually pretty damn good. I didn't watch it in 3D recently. I watched this around Christmas time because, of course, it's a Christmas movie technically. So I watched this around Christmas time, but I didn't watch it in 3D because my brother also watched it with me, and you know, we don't have a 3D TV anymore, and I've only got one VR headset, so I just watched the standard 2D Blu-ray. But from what I've heard, the 3D Blu-ray is actually really damn good. But yeah, this movie, absolutely hilarious, just a great fun ride around where Harold and Kumar have to go and get a new tree to impress Harold's wife's dad. I think just absolutely, it's so funny. Neil Patrick Harris, I forgot to mention him in the second movie. He's great. I love the inclusion of him in these movies where he just plays and just a massive coked out, just awful version of himself. Like in this movie especially, he's just, the rest of his character is just like really funny to see. So yeah, this movie I think is a great sort of ending to the Harold and Kumar sort of trilogy. However, I'm very much looking forward to the fourth movie, which I pray jumps ahead a couple of years and shows them and has given them a really fun movie where their kids have to interact. I think that would be absolutely hilarious. So, but yeah, a very Harold Kumar 3D Christmas. insanely fun time and just a really funny Christmas stoner movie. So if you enjoy this type of movie, give it a watch. It's a really fun time. Then we move on to this massive box set, if I can get it out, because this is the main thing that's making this shelf so chocked full. The Harry Potter. So this box set I got at, actually surprisingly, I got this at Vinnie's, which is where I got a couple of things, which is just, again, I think I mentioned before, just an Australian sort of charity shop. So I found this only for like $8. So I was like, I'll pick that up. That's a pretty good steal. In terms of the series, I did grow up on this on the films. I remember I tried reading the first book, but gave up like maybe a quarter, like after like 3 pages. Because personally for me, I really struggle to read non-visual books. That's why I like comic books so much, because they have visuals to them. That's just part of my ADHD brain. I've always really struggled to read just full text like novels and stuff. So I just stuck to the movies, and this was sort of my fix for fantasy, because I wasn't a massive fantasy person. So when I was like, okay, I'll dabble a bit in fantasy, this was sort of the franchise I sort of took to, until a certain other franchise I rewatched took over, but we'll get to that a bit later. So yeah, this series, I mean, it's hard to talk about these films now, isn't it, with what's come out in the past, like 5 years with J.K. Rowling. Like, you go back, and apparently a lot of stuff in the books, you could see a lot of problematic elements in here. But I remember, I think with the movies, yeah, I mean, they were a cultural phenomenon coming out. Like, I will stand by it is damn impressive that they managed to make an entire 8-long saga with the same actors, and you can see them growing all throughout each movie. I think that is a commendable effort, and probably something we'll probably never see again. Although we did have it with Stranger Things being most of the same thing, but that's a TV show. So yeah, let's go through movie by movie, shall we? First, we've got The Philosopher's Stone, which is it's the first movie, and it's been so damn long since I've watched these movies. Like, I'll get into it later on when I reach a certain other popular fantasy franchise, but it's been a long time since I've watched these. So I remember only snippets of this one. Like, I remember Hagrid coming to Harry's to that place that the Dursleys are staying at, on that, that small island with that really crap like chimney built house. I remember the chess match where Ron has to plays live chess. I remember the first Quidditch match and stuff. And so yeah. Yeah, it's been so damn long. I think it's been over 10 years since I've last watched Philosopher's Stone. But I remember, I think, yeah, it's enjoyable, and a good start to the series. So yeah. Then we got Chamber of Secrets. This is when it sort of started to get a bit darker, and I think I always preferred this over Philosopher's Stone because of that, because it's just a bit more nastier. From memory, yeah, it's quite creepy. Like, the blood on the walls, the basilisk is just like, ew, it's gnarly. Like, there's some frightening scenes in this. So, yeah, I remember enjoying Chamber of Secrets quite well. So, yeah. Prisoner of Azkaban. This seems to be regarded as the best one, and I mean, I can kind of see it because the character work is pretty damn good for this. This was always so weird. Like, this is very clearly the first one where it goes into a very sort of more sort of dark and sort of intricate sort of direction, like, especially mainly tonally and visually. The visuals are just so gothic and stuff. But I always felt Goblet of Fire was when it went real dark and stuff, because a lot of things that happen in that movie are a lot darker compared to the others. But haven't had watched this, but looking back at like sort of looking at clips and stuff, I could definitely see how this is the first sort of one to jump visually in tone. So, but yeah, I remember, yeah, enjoying this one well enough. But yeah, I don't think it's the franchise best that a lot of people claim to be. Although it probably is, it's just not my favorite of the franchise. So yeah, Prisoner of Azkaban, yeah, good third movie, but personally not my favorite like everyone claims this one to be. Goblet of Fire. I've heard a lot of sort of scrutiny aimed at this one. Like, apparently the guy who directed this one didn't even really read the book too much. So a lot of people sort of give this one a bit of scrutiny, but I enjoy it. I think what makes this weaker is the most memorable bit of this movie is the last act. Like, the first two acts are like enjoyable. Like, it's cool to see like Hogwarts have a tournament with other schools where they compete with these different like games and such. Although the fact that all these games are life-threatening are absolutely crazy. Like, it goes to show Hogwarts and all the other wizarding schools just have no safety protocols. It's like, it's pretty crazy that it took this long for a kid to die. That is absolutely maddening. And all it took was just accidentally being transported somewhere else to where Voldemort was coming back. So it's like, that's crazy it took them that long for a kid to accidentally get killed at one of these schools. So I remember enjoying this one, I think. But I think just the main thing I always remember about this movie, this is the one where Voldemort comes back, and it does have a pretty kick-ass third act. But apart from that, it's like, yeah, it's all right. Of course, since they become 14, this is when the romance begins to sort of wave its through, but it really kicks into high gear when we get to Half-Blood Prince. But anyway, Goblet of Fire, yeah, enjoyable, but it's really the third act that is the main reason to watch this movie. Then we've got Order of the Phoenix, which is actually probably my second favorite of the franchise. Which is crazy because I think this is sort of seen as one of the weaker entries because, like with Goblet of Fire, Order of the Phoenix is a massive book, so they cut a lot of stuff out of it apparently. But I don't know. I remember really enjoying this one. I think, yeah, Harry just teaching a bunch of students to become like the new Order of the Phoenix, and basically become training an army to take on Voldemort, I think is great. I think the way the Ministry of Magic, I think that's the name, you know, the magic government, like, smear anything about Voldemort and just deny that he's back, I think is great, until the end showdown when the main Minister of Magic sees Voldemort and he's like, he's back. I can't BS this anymore. We got to put a statement out. He is alive. He is back. And it's just like, oh man, it's crazy. It's like the tone of this one is just so good because it's like, yeah, like Harry's trying to prove that Voldemort is back, but just everyone just denies it. So, but yeah, I personally enjoy this one. I think it's pretty good. I mean, this is of course the one where Sirius Black gets murdered, and you know, it's sad and stuff. I think the actual scene itself is pretty effective. I think, yeah, just like from there on to the ending, it's pretty damn good. Like the way Daniel Radcliffe portrays that rage and stuff is just like, damn, like you're scary, man. So yeah, Order of the Phoenix, I remember being my second favorite. So, but that might change if I rewatch them. So yeah. Half-Blood Prince. This is my least favorite. I think this one is like kind of I think this is regarded as the weakest one. I think it's still good, but it's like not amazing. Like apparently they cut out a lot of stuff in the book. Like they reduced like Voldemort's like whole thing backstory with the Horcruxes down to like one scene. So yeah, I think visually this is sort of, while I appreciated the darker look to it initially, having looked back at the shots and the clips of this movie, and especially with Deathly Hallows Part 1 and sometimes Part 2, yeah, this movie doesn't look visually very good. Like, it's very flat and very boring and just sort of dull and lifeless, which I guess is probably the point, because it's to show just how depressive this world is at this point. Like, you see it towards the end of this movie when, like, what's her name again? Bellatrix, is that her name? From memory? I can't remember. It's been so long since I've watched these movies. But yeah, Bellatrix and the other Death Eaters come and just lay waste to like the inner halls of Hogwarts. Like they just shatter like the buildings and stuff, and just feels just like such a depressive mood going on and stuff. So but yeah, I think this is also the one where all the romance gets kicked into really high gear. Like suddenly, for some reason, Harry has a crush on Ron's sister, which I thought came out of nowhere in the movies. They might have a better build up in the books, but that always just felt so bizarre to me. It's just like suddenly he's like into like Ron's sister. It's just like, what? This one is, I think, the weakest, which is a shame too, because it's like this actually goes into Voldemort's backstory, even only a tiny bit and stuff. So yeah, the weakest, I think, of the franchise. And of course, this is also the one where Dumbledore gets killed off, and so sucks that's in the weakest one. But yeah, from memory, I was like, yeah, it's the weakest one where not really a lot happens, and also surprising too because Voldemort doesn't show up. Like, it's kind of crazy that he just doesn't show up in this one. Like, I guess they wanted to give this omnipresent tone where he's just everywhere. Like, he doesn't need to be in this because just everything that is happening in this world is because of him. He's omnipresent across this film. So, but yeah, this one I remember always just being just like, all right, it's good. I think Snape's great in it and stuff, but I think this was the one where it's like, all right, let's get into the finale. So yeah. Then you got Deathly Hallows Part 1, which I'm going to be honest, I really enjoyed this one. Like, I think this is probably also seen as one of the weaker entries because it's just the first half of a 2-part movie, or like the first half of a book. So this is where a lot of the boring stuff from that book comes in. But to be honest, I really like it. I think the reason why I like it so much is I think this is definitely the darkest one out of all the movies. I think just the concept of them all, like Harry, Ron, Hermione going on the run, like out of Hogwarts, just out in the world, and just pretty much as fugitives basically, is crazy. Like, I think just the tone of it, it's basically a fugitive movie essentially, where they're just on the run all the time, and I think that's what I really enjoy about it. Just there's no protection from anyone. They're just on their own, and they have to come up with all these ways, like to sneak into the Ministry of Magic, having to just find these Horcruxes and stuff. I mean, some of the interpersonal drama is a bit take it or leave it, but that's of course explained a lot through the Horcruxes. Like, it amplifies your negative thoughts and stuff. But I think some of it can get a bit annoying, like Ron like getting a bit fed up with everything and then deciding to leave, and then he comes back is just like, yeah, I mean, all right. I mean, I understand you want to get some conflict in them and stuff, but it's like, I feel like there's a natural way to do that, I guess. But anyway, but yeah, part 1 I think is great. I think the climax is pretty enjoyable, where they're at Malfoy Manor, and then of course sadly Dobby dies, which is it is quite sad and stuff. Yeah, I really enjoy Deathly Hallows Part 1, unlike a lot of people who, I think a lot of people regard this as, one of the weakest entries, but I really enjoy it. It feels so dark and just like depressing and just so paranoid just all the time, because they're just on the run the whole time. So yeah, great movie, and a great setup to the final chapter of the saga. And then we come to Deathly Hallows Part 2, which is my favorite of the saga. This was actually the only Harry Potter film I saw in the cinema, because this wraps up when I was only maybe 10 or 11. So yeah, I wasn't even born when the first one came out. So yeah, I wasn't able to watch these in cinemas until I saw this. This was like the first M-rated movie I saw in cinemas, I believe. And it was only this one. I didn't get to watch Part 1 beforehand. So to be honest, I think I remember I understood most of it, even though I hadn't seen Part 1 before this. So, and I think I'd seen all the others, maybe apart from Half-Blood Prince, but I hadn't seen those two. So I mostly was able to follow it, and I love it. I think it's a great conclusion to the saga. I think it's great. I think what makes me love it so much is it's just a war movie. Like, and it's cool. It's like kind of cool to see all these kids who we've grown up with throughout the movies. They're now teenagers and they're now literally being drafted into a war. Like, it is crazy. Like, just like seeing just all this, like, just having these war like set pieces on these iconic locations in Hogwarts, just seeing just all of Hogwarts just being burnt down to the ground, and just a lot of things just being destroyed and just being a complete war zone. It's just like, I can't, it's really cool to me, because it's just seeing, because it's like, we've had all these like mystery type stuff, but now we get down in the nitty gritty where it's just all out war and everyone just fights to take out each other. And so I really enjoy it. I think it's great. I think the whole thing with Harry being a Horcrux, that's quite interesting. I think that's cool. Nagini, the snake, being the final one, also quite cool. But yeah, I think it's a great finisher and a satisfying end to the franchise. And I think visually this looks pretty damn good. There's a couple of times when it does look a bit sort of lifeless at times, but I think for the most part it does look visually really pretty damn good. So yeah, yeah, good closure to the franchise. Yeah, an enjoyable and my personal favorite of the saga. Then we have this here, which is the 3D copy of Deathly Hallows Part 2. This is actually one of the only 2 Blu-rays I got back in the heyday when Blu-ray was the big thing. So this is the copy I bought literally, I think, a couple of weeks after it released on Blu-ray. So, because back then we had both a 3D Blu-ray player and a 3D TV. So yeah, I think I remember I think I watched this once on 3D Blu-ray, and this was of course me being, you know, 11 or 12 back then, being quite impressed by it. However, I haven't actually watched the 3D of this in, like I said, years. I haven't watched this whole franchise in years, but from what I've heard, like looking up, like researching like 3D Blu-ray movies and stuff, this is apparently one of the weaker transfers of a 3D movie. So so yeah, maybe it'll be interesting to go back and watch this in 3D and see what the quality is like, because from what I remember, the one time I watched it when this came out, I thought it was, I really loved it. So, but yeah, so I wanted to keep this on the shelf because this is, again, one of the only 3D movies I got back in the heyday. So yeah. Moving on, we've got Home Alone. So this is the 4K, but I've also got in here the standard Blu-ray that I've put in there. So I bought a bunch of disc trays like these, and basically anytime I get a single 4K copy, but I've also got the Blu-ray, I just stack it in there to, you know, save space essentially. So yeah, but anyway, Home Alone, it's a classic. Up until I saw Die Hard a couple of years ago, like before 2018, this was my favorite Christmas film, because I think the first time I watched this, we rented it from Civic Video, which was a video rental store here in Australia, and boy, do I miss those times. Yes, us Gen Z kids, we grew up with rental stores and DVDs and such. So I remember having very good memories going to the video rental store and renting movies, as well as a couple of Doctor Who DVDs. So this was one of them, because I distinctly remember when we watched this the first time, the scene when Kevin's setting up all the traps was completely scratched. So we spent like ages trying to get past that bit until we eventually managed to skip over that scene. So for years, I never saw that scene until we get to the next DVD I have. Oops. We get to the next DVD I have, which is how I watched this again afterwards. So yeah, but anyway, Home Alone, it's a fantastic Christmas movie. John Hughes and Chris Columbus are just a great dynamic production team. Macaulay Culkin is iconic as Kevin McAllister. Harry and Marv are hilarious as the 2 burglars who are trying to steal everything from Kevin's house, and just a really heartwarming movie. Like Catherine is it Catherine O'Hara, I believe. Uh, Catherine O'Hara, who sadly passed away recently. She's fantastic as Kate or Karen. Oh, is it Kate? I think it's Kate, as Kevin's mum, and just so damn good. Just a really nice, heartwarming movie. Like the ending of this movie is just so nice and just so sweet. It's just like, damn, like what a good feel-good Christmas movie, and just so fun to watch. Just as like leading to the amazing climax where Kevin sets all these traps for Harry and Marv and Harry just fall for it, just like dumb idiots. So yeah, Home Alone, a fantastic movie with a very sweet message to it and just a very sweet vibe and heartfelt film. Although to be fair, I think Kevin's definitely in the right at the start, because his family at the start, like his siblings, are absolute arseholes, especially Uncle Frank. Like Uncle Frank is a absolute douchebag. Like I'm surprised it took him until the second movie for Kevin to call him out on him being such a cheapskate. So yeah, I think he's mostly justified there. Although I think Kevin does humble himself and sort of admits, yeah, he's also being a bit of a douchebag here. So, but yeah. Anyway, Home Alone, a classic. Everyone knows it. Like this is one of the greatest Christmas films of all time. So yeah, fantastic, phenomenal. Then here we have the Home Alone Family Collection, which is just the other 3 sequels on DVD. So this has, well, or 4, and it was the first film. So you got 1, you got 2, Lost in New York, Home Alone 3, and Home Alone 4. So this is sort of as well the way I sort of kind of grew up on the other films as well, because even though the first film is the best film, I grew up on these ones equally. So I have a lot of nostalgia, because this was another one of the DVDs that we got. It was always a staple of long car trips and stuff. So yeah, so I've seen all 4 of these movies quite a lot, and I have quite a bit of nostalgia for them, even though I recognise most of them aren't great. So yeah, we'll talk about them quickly. Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, is the best sequel, even if it just redoes a lot of the first movie again. Like, same plot beats, same character types. It's mostly the same, except much bigger and grander. Like, with the traps in New York, I think is great. I think are just absolutely maddening this time. The fact that like Harry and Marv aren't dead by the end of this movie is insane. I think yeah, the second film is enjoyable and the only sequel that's really worth watching. Home Alone 3 is just a crazy tone, considering the start of the movie. It starts with like it starts so serious, and it's like a gritty spy or thriller film with a bunch of like terrorists sneaking a missile chip through an airport. But then it becomes classics, a slapstick comedy, slapstick Home Alone, with this kid who's home alone with the chicken pox and keeps calling the police but isn't believed. I mean, the traps are okay, but it's definitely just, it feels such a bizarre sort of far cry from the previous 2 movies. I mean, that's probably also because it's all new characters this time. But it's interesting because I think this was the last sequel to have John Hughes writing it, I believe. So, but yeah. And then Home Alone 4, which is just apparently a television movie, and I guess you can kind of see it from the quality of it, is just meh, like just bizarre. It has this weird thing where it's trying to be a sequel to Home Alone 1 and 2, but with new characters, but you get all this weird stuff like Kevin's family, you've now reduced, even though it's supposed to be Kevin from 1 and 2 and his family from 1 and 2, you've gotten rid of like 2 or like 3 of his siblings and have only whittled it down to 2 siblings. Bizarre. You got the whole thing where his parents are divorced, and now his dad is married to, he's engaged to this rich girl who's a really just an awful person. Like when you start to see the layers, like that scene when she tells Kevin that like, yeah, parents get divorced, oh boo-hoo, life sucks, whatever, you get over it. It's like, jeez, what the hell, woman? Like, you really are an arsehole. Like, I know we're supposed to be I know we're supposed to be rooting for Kevin's dad to get back with Kevin's mum, but like, man, you're making it way too easy. So, but yeah, and then you've also got Marv here, who's played by a completely different actor, and his wife, who are like the main burglars this time. But it's so bizarre to have Marv be the mastermind this time, when Harry was clearly the mastermind in the past two movies. So, yeah, bizarre, and just it just feels like it's trying to make a quick buck off the Home Alone series. So, so those other movies just don't compete with the first movie. So, but I do have nostalgic viewings of them. So, I do have nostalgia. So I kind of view these all existing compared to most people who only thought there was only two movies. So, but anyway, that's the other Home Alone films, and then there's also two others that have come out. I think I did watch The Holiday Heist, I believe is the fifth one. I watched it once, don't have an eager to watch it again, just straight to DVD slop. And also then there's the new one that came out just straight to Disney Plus, which I've heard is awful, Home Sweet Home Alone, because apparently it tries to turn the kid into the bad guy, make the burglars sympathetic, but it just doesn't. It's not convincing enough. Like they half-assed it apparently. But anyway, so yeah, Home Alone. I think just the first two movies are just all that matters really. So yeah. Then we've got Inception, Christopher Nolan's epic that made a lot of money at the box office and was very highly regarded. I mean, I think at the time this came out, everyone was like, this is like the best this is the best like movie in like 10 years or something, which is a bit overrated, over high praise. But I still think it's a fantastic film. I think it's great, just so clever, so well, like the concept of the ability to control and go into dreams is just crazy, and just like the plot of it is so fascinating about like this like group who are hired to go into a rich CEO's mind and plant an idea in someone to sell their company, I believe, or just get rid of their company so that the person that they've hired is like stock prices go up and controls whatever that company is. Also, I think from memory. But I think what is so damn impressive about this movie is it sounds really, really complicated when you describe it. Yet when you watch it, it's explained perfectly, that you get it. Like you get everything. Like you understand, you fully understand how this works, how they go in, what the dangers are with this, like what to not go, like limbo, like if you go into limbo, it's just game over for you. You'll just keep on going and going and going, and it's just really cool to see. Like, especially, I mean, like I know a lot of people meme the whole bit at the end where like literally for the entire third act, it's like in the first dream world, it's literally just a van falling off a bridge, like in slow motion. It's just been doing that the entire time. But I think it's still really cool, and really it's kind of fascinating when you figure it all out. Like IRL, in terms of the movie, the whole movie just really mostly takes place on a plane. Like it's just one plane trip where they all fall asleep, and they just keep going into deeper and deeper dreams. Yeah, I think it's fantastic. The characters are all great. I think it's greatly cast. Like Christopher Nolan clearly here has got his actors here that you see every time in a Christopher Nolan movie. But it's interesting, this time you've got Leonardo DiCaprio as the protagonist, and I think he's really interesting. So yeah, visually looks phenomenal. Like this is the movie he did after The Dark Knight, and so he's got so he's used IMAX here, and just seeing like the way all the buildings sort of like bend over and stuff, like this real like cerebral type, really like mind-bending stuff that only dreams can capture, I think looks phenomenal on 4K. So yeah, Inception, I mean, I think everyone knows about this movie, and it is just a damn good movie, and a just good action movie. And I think it's what a lot of people started the thing where maybe Christopher Nolan would do good at doing a James Bond movie, which I think he definitely perfected that when he did Tenet. So yeah, Inception, fantastic movie, highly memorable and iconic and beautiful in 4K. Then we move on to Indiana Jones with Raiders of the Lost Ark. No Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark, just Raiders of the Lost Ark, like it was released back in the 80s. So, man, I mean, I'm very nostalgic for Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones, Star Wars, Back to the Future, just all those 80s, like Spielberg or Lucas type involved project 80, those projects, those movies. I've so much nostalgia for because I grew up watching all those. So Indiana Jones is just absolutely phenomenal. So Raiders, I mean, what is there more to say? This is in the top 10 for greatest movies of all time, I think. I think it's just so damn well, it's so damn good. Just a really kick-ass adventure film. Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones is his best character that Harrison Ford's ever done. I think he's better than Han Solo, personally. Although Deckard from Blade Runner is pretty damn good. But I think whenever I think Harrison Ford, I always think of Indiana Jones. So, yeah, I think it's just a fantastic film. This film just does not stop. Like, the action is just so phenomenal. Like, Spielberg just really knows how to film action. It's just absolutely phenomenal. Everything's just done so practically damn well. That chase scene in particular with the truck, with Indy getting the Ark back, that's actually, to be honest, probably tied with my favorite chase scene of all time. It's either that or the big truck flip chase in The Dark Knight. This movie is just absolutely phenomenal. Like, I mean, what is there more to say? Just great action, great characters, great baddies. I think Belloc is just a really fascinating villain. Like, the choice to make him a French archaeologist is so well thought out. I think is great with him working with the Nazis and stuff. I think it's an absolutely phenomenal action adventure film, and just so it feels so unique to have an action franchise set like back in like pre-World War II, like just on the cusp of World War II, essentially. I think that's a very ballsy move to make an action franchise like that came out to be as iconic as it did, to be not set in the modern era. So, but I think, yeah, it's fantastic. Raiders is fantastic, and the 4K looks phenomenal. So yeah, if you want to know my thoughts more in depth of these movies, I did review them on my Letterboxd account, so you can go and check them out there. Although I don't think I wrote too much about this one because it's like there's nothing really much more to say about this because it's just so damn good. But you can look at the other ones that I reviewed and stuff there. So yeah, Raiders, phenomenal. 4K looks phenomenal. One of the best movies of all time. Then we've got Temple of Doom in a lovely slipcover. I'm actually kind of annoyed because I managed to get all of these movies on 4K with slipcover except for Raiders. So my OCD brain is a bit annoyed that Raiders is the only one that doesn't have a slipcover, but regardless, anyway. Yeah, so Temple of Doom. I mean, it's good, but I think it's the weakest in terms of the first three films, I think. And actually, maybe, I don't know, I might prefer Kingdom of Crystal Skull over this. That's probably a big hot take, but I think Temple of Doom does a lot of stuff well. I think the opening in Shanghai is fantastic. Like, Harrison Ford just channeling Sean Connery's Bond with the white suit and stuff is great. I think it definitely sort of continues Indy from the first movie, even though this is a prequel, about how he's not really a really good guy. Like, he's a bit of an asshole at a lot of times. Like that scene at the beginning when he uses like Willie as like a hostage in order to negotiate with the Yakuza to give him the antidote. I think it's like, whoa, like, geez, bro. And it's like, it reminds me, yeah, from the first movie where he's not quite the greatest guy. But yeah, I think, yeah, everything with the chase down Shanghai is fantastic. I think when it starts to lose me a bit is once we get to India. I think I don't mind the whole raft stunt where they jump out of the plane and then inflate the raft. It's ridiculous, but to be honest, I kind of point that out as like saying, like, if you think the fridge nuke from Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is ridiculous, but you give a pass for that? Like, come on, man. Like, I happily give a pass to both, but I acknowledge how absurd they both are, and I don't think you can compare, you can view this one any more legitimately compared to the fridge nuke scene, but that's my personal opinion. It's once we get to India that I think it kind of slows down a bit. Like, we get some cool scenes, you know, where like Willie's just so completely out of her depth. She's just terrified of the jungle. I mean, Willie's also another sort of issue with this movie because like she just screams so much.
Trouble with her is the noise.
And it's just like, oh my gosh, like, be quiet, woman. Like, it's just like I get it when bad stuff's happening, like, you know, the Kali Ma scene, like that, fair enough, scream your heart's content, but just all these animals like coming and approaching you and just screaming your bloody head off. It's like, oh my gosh. And then you've also got the banquet scene, which is has not aged well. Like, it has not aged well at all. But then you got some other, you do have some good stuff, like the bit when they're just waiting, where Willie and Indy are just waiting in each other's rooms, waiting for the other to come in, and it's just like, that's real. I always really love that bit. The fight between Indy and the thuggy, I think it is, the thuggy soldier in his room with the fan, I think that's pretty good. But then, of course, we then lead into the Kali Ma scene, which is just so damn disturbing and just so messed up. Like, yeah, like I said before with Gremlins, this and that movie were what caused the America to be like, no, we need to invent a new rating that's between PG and R, because this is too much to be PG, but it's not quite hardcore enough to be R, although I think that scene is definitely R, qualifies an R rating. But anyway, so yeah, I think, Spielberg, suggested to them that they make a new rating, and they were like, yeah, we'll do that. But anyway, yeah, that scene it's just so haunting, just so horror. It's like, it is so tonally different to the most of the movie at that point, and then it just turns into a really just nasty movie. Like, you just see kids just getting whipped all the time. You have both Indy and Short Round getting whipped by Indy's own whip. It's just like, bro, like, you could really tell that both Steven Spielberg and George Lucas were going through divorces at that time, because it just feels just so mean-spirited a lot of the time, but I personally don't mind it too much. So yeah, I think the middle mainly is what sort of brings it down for me. Apart from some of the things I mentioned there, I think it really picks back up in the final act. Like, everything from after Willie gets rescued is just fantastic. Like, just the scenes of like Indy fighting the big guy who is also in blackface, because apparently he's actually the boxer from Raiders, the shirtless guy that Indy fights on the plane. Apparently that's the same actor as that guy, except he's now got blackface on, which is just like, oh, another problematic aspect of this movie. Everything from that to like Short Round helping, I think is great. Short Round, I forgot to mention, he's fantastic. I really like him. I think he's great. He's a lot better than Mark Williams as the son that Indiana Jones never had. And it's such a shame they didn't decide to bring him back for Dial of Destiny, because I think that would have been a great conclusion to the Indiana Jones trilogy, the Indiana Jones saga. But yeah, and then of course you got the minecart chase, which is phenomenally filmed. Like, I've got to give it that. Like, that chase scene is fantastic, just so gripping, and just looks so real and practical. I think because they did a lot of it for real and stuff. So, and then it all comes to that climax on the bridge, which is just, so damn good. Like, just like, it highlights just how just crazy Indy is, where he's like, yeah, I'll cut this bridge in half if it means you don't get the stones. Like, it's just like absolutely maddening. So yeah, so it's got a fantastic beginning and end, But personally, for me, the middle kind of drags it down a bit. So that's why I think it's good. It's like a 7 out of 10, which might be a bit low with the way I'm talking about it. But personally, it's a 7 out of 10 for me. And it's the weakest of the first 3 films. But it's, to be honest, either neck and neck or maybe slightly worse than Kingdom of Crystal Skull, which is a hot take that I think I'll get grilled for in the comments if anyone gets this far in this video. So, yeah. Then we've got in the top 5 of the best movies of all time. I think as time has gone on, I think I've come to accept The Last Crusade as my personal favorite indie film. And if you go on my letterbox, this is in my top 5 favorite films of all time. So, I mean, it's just phenomenal. Like, sure, you could probably argue it's a bit of a safe course correction after Temple of Doom's dark tone. But my word, does this excel so damn hard. This is so damn good. It's phenomenal. Like, just the decision to have Indy team up with his dad, played by Sean Connery, is great. Harrison Ford and Sean Connery's chemistry is phenomenal. I think bringing Marcus into it as well as Sulla is a great inclusion and feels like it feels like a bit of finality to this film. The whole quest for the Holy Grail is so gripping. I think Ilsa is great. She's a very interesting character where, you know, we first meet her and we think she's going to be like our romance for this movie, and she kind of does. But then you find out, no, she's actually working for the Nazis. But she is not a Nazi. She is only dedicated to helping the Nazis because she wants to find the Grail. So there's a lot of interesting character work sort of there. I think Donovan, the bad guy, played by Julian Glover, is great. I think the action is fantastic. That opening sequence with young Indy on the train is phenomenal. The boat chase is great. The tank scene is great. But the final act, my word. I think while Raiders has a really good final act, this, I think, is the better final act because Indy actually does stuff rather than getting tied up and just watching. I think, yeah, just him going through the 3 trials and having to put all of what he's learnt, not just from this adventure, but from his childhood with his dad, who was so obsessed with this, having to put all of this together in order to pass and survive these tests is just phenomenal. Like, while you can, like, as you have the scenes where Indy's passing, you cut back to Henry Sr., when he's been shot and he's just whispering to just no one, just to tell Indy on what he has to do and stuff. So, and it's just beautiful. And then you have that fantastic scene when he comes across the last night of the crusade and then he has to pick which cup is the one that contains the Holy Grail. And then you have that horrific scene where Donovan drinks the wrong one and then gets acceleratedly aged to death. So Last Crusade is phenomenal. It's absolutely so damn good. I'd probably class it as maybe the best sequel of all time. Like, considering I think it's better than Raiders personally, but that's just me. I think it's just such a damn good film, and really ways I do see why people view this as the conclusion to the Indiana Jones series, because it's just so damn good. Then we move on to Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I should also mention, so you probably noticed these are the UK 4Ks, and that's because while we did get them released here in Australia in 4K, they were only released as a box set, and so I kind of wanted to get them individually because I really like to look at the poster art and stuff. So I saw that the UK copies have the poster art and an individual, so I was like, I'll get these individually. So I think, yeah, they just look great. And I think the slip covers as well look very nice on these. So, yeah. But anyway, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, I think it's good. I think it's good, especially in contrast to Dial of Destiny. This still has the soul of Indiana Jones in it. I think you can definitely feel Spielberg style and craft behind this movie. I think the first half of this movie is awesome. I think it's great. I think it's very effective. That whole scene, especially at the start with Indy like jumping like across boxes in the warehouse, I think that's a great chase. And then you get that really awesome bit with the jet engine, the rocket engine on the back. I think that's cool. And then you get introduced to Mutt, who he's all right. He's enjoyable. I think this was, of course, Steven Spielberg cast Shia LaBeouf as Mutt because he'd recently worked with him on Transformers the year prior. So I think Spielberg wanted to make Shia LaBeouf the next big like young actor, so they cast him there. But then now at times it does feel a bit kind of distracting. It's like, oh right, Shia LaBeouf is playing Indy's son, but I think he's okay. He's an interesting character for I think he's all right for the most part. But yeah, you then also get that great chase through Indy's town, especially on the college campus. I think that's great. The scene where they uncover the crystal skull is great, as well as them going to, I think it's at Peru, from memory. I think, where they try to figure out where Ox went and what was happening to him, I think is great. I think it really does grind to a halt once we get to South America in the jungle when we reunite with Marion. I think everything after they get recaptured again, mostly towards the end, it does feel a lot weaker compared to the first half, but there's still some really good stuff in it. I really enjoy the jungle muncher, is what I would probably call it, the thing that chops down trees. That whole bit with the chase of that and the sword fighting across the cars, while silly, is enjoyable. And then you've also got that great bit where Indy fights the henchman and has a great comeuppance for the henchman that continues the trend of every Indiana Jones movie having a horrific death for one of the villains. I think also what kind of brings this down a bit as well is the look of it. I think at times it looks really great, other times it doesn't look that good, especially the second half. You can very much tell there's like some CGI artificial lighting going on, especially during the jungle chase, and especially in the 3 times it drops scene, which, while I really like that scene, there's a lot where you can see just the sun is just definitely CGI there, and just the lighting is so artificial. It just feels very distracting, and I'm not sure what Spielberg was trying to achieve there. It does feel a bit like, and you can very much notice that, especially on the 4K release. I think the ultimate reveal of the Crystal Skull being aliens, I don't mind it. I think it's a cool idea, and especially fits with the style of this being the 50s. So, because the 50s was all big about alien probing and stuff, and all that sort of stuff. So, I'm all right with it being aliens, but I completely understand why people don't like it, because when you've had 3 previous movies all steeped in mysticism and supernaturalism, suddenly switching to sci-fi, it just feels like you're going from one genre and jumping to the opposite. So I understand why people have that. Of course, I forgot to mention the fridge scene, which is, I enjoy it. I think it's ridiculous, but like the raft scene, I think it's all right. I think it's enjoyable to watch, and I think it's a fun time. And sure, it breaks physics and stuff, but it's all right. But for me personally, I'm personally okay with it. So I think Cate Blanchett as Spalko is all right. I think she's she's either the weakest or the second weakest villain. I think she starts off interesting. I think her whole deal with her wanting the crystal skull in order to use it for psychic powers and psychically control America into bowing before Russia is interesting, but I don't think we don't get a whole lot of that apart from that one scene, and I don't think she's that captivating as a villain compared to Belloc or Donovan. Also, the whole thing with Mac, I think Mac is a bit iffy, this whole guy who just keeps on flip-flopping between, he's with the Russians, but he's actually a double agent, but then he's a triple agent and stuff. It's it feels just a bit like, what are we doing with this character? It just feels like a ragtag, and he's just a guy along for the ride, and the most expendable one, really, which is why he's the only one out of the group that forms at the end of this movie, is the only one that dies. So, But yeah, I think John Hurt is also great as Ox. I think he's great. I really love how crazy he is and stuff, and just how much connection he has with the Crystal Skull. So yes, so overall, there's a lot to enjoy about this movie. I think it's good. I think it's good fun. The second half does bring it down a bit. It's definitely not as good as the first half, and up until this point, I'd probably say, I mean, it is a tie between this and Temple of Doom, personally, for the weakest Indiana Jones movie so far. But I think this also gives a nice ending to the franchise, although that kind of got a bit balls up, didn't it? Which leads us right into Dial of Destiny. First off, I think this slipcover is probably the best slipcover, even though the artwork, I think, is not as amazing as, you know, the original four painted type posters. Just as you can see on the camera, just the reflective shine on it is really cool. So this is what was made as the final Indiana Jones film, even though it just feels just another Indiana Jones adventure. This is the first one I saw in cinemas. When I came out, I thought it was okay, but not as amazing, not as good as everything else. Like, I thought this is the weakest so far. And then I never really rewatched it until literally like a couple of weeks ago when I decided to watch all the movies again. And so I got the 4K for this, and then I sat down and rewatched it for the first time in the cinemas. And boy, howdy, was this a tough watch. Like, I still think it's okay, but beforehand, I think I gave it like a 6 out of 10. Now I'd give it like a 5 or something. It's okay. It's a serviceable Indiana Jones film. The biggest problem for me is there's no heart to it. There's no soul to it. You can tell this wasn't made by Steven Spielberg. And I think James Mangold, he's a great director. I think Logan is fantastic. I've also heard Ford v Ferrari, he also did, is also very good. But personally, I don't think it was great here. I think he was trying to apply like the same Logan type thing of miserable old hero is dragged in for one last adventure type thing. But I don't think it works for Indiana Jones. To be honest, I don't hate the whole thing about making Indy a miserable git who is like divorced from Mary and his son's dead. I should hate that, but for some reason I don't. I don't know why. You can look into my review I did, my very long review I did on Letterboxd on this, because I had a lot of thoughts for this movie. But to summarize, I think the big problem is the heart's not in it. Harrison Ford is good in this. I think he's giving it his all. But I think there's just not that Spielberg charm that was in the other 4 movies, including Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and that feels like missing here. Like it's not even the fact that like this whole movie has none of like the previous locations from any of the other movies. Like what I'm mainly talking about is the college. Like in this, he's in New York, and he's got a small apartment compared to his nice house in I think it's Connecticut, I believe, where his house and his college is. So there's no of that college. He's at a new school now, and it's all like cityscape and metro like, and it feels a bit like I kind of miss him being out sort of in the Connecticut countryside type thing, you know. But that's just me waffling, because I really love just like that was the setting of where Indy's home is. And sure, he goes on these globe-trotting adventures, but he always comes back there. But anyway, I think just the whole story is just like, it's fine. It's okay. I think the action is definitely not up to scratch. I think it just doesn't have that charm that Spielberg brought to it, where there's so much detail in the action. The action should be looked very good. I mean, even the movie itself just looks very meh. It looks very, they definitely, like, it feels like a lot of the soul has been sucked out of it. Like, it's just like, it's not vibrant at all. Like, the lighting's all flat, which is one of the big things with Disney's recent blockbusters and most like modern movies now. It's just the lighting of movies is just so appallingly just like flat and stuff. So, and it very much applies here. I think Mads Mikkelsen as Voller, I'll say he's pretty good. I think he's an enjoyable baddie, and I think he's better than Spalko and Molaram personally. Helena she's I don't know, I think she comes off a bit insufferable at times. I think it's bizarre that they decided to make the daughter of a friend of Indy's that we've never met, when originally I fully believed up until the release of this that she was supposed to be playing Marcus Brody's daughter. So when I watched the movie, I was like, no, it's someone else. It's someone else we never knew that was one of Indy's best friends. And it's like, what? Just make it Marcus Brody's daughter. But I guess it's probably because since the actor for Marcus Brody had died between Last Crusade, King of the Crystal Skull, they either decided not to bring him back via CGI because we'd already spent enough money on just doing that opening sequence with young Indy, which is the best sequence in the movie, really. Like, it's just so, that is pure Indiana Jones. Or the fact that they maybe just didn't get the rights to use his likeness for a CG deepfake, so that's probably why they just made him an original character. But yeah, it just doesn't, it's not memorable, really. Like, the whole movie, like, it's just, nothing's really that special about it. Like, I mean, and this is the one that has time travel in it, and I think it's kind of neat that he goes back in time, and that's kind of cool, but it's like, the substance just isn't there, and it, like, the look, the action, it just makes it feel just like it's like a bog standard, just very serviceable Indiana Jones film. The good thing is, I don't mind the ending, to be honest. Like, Marion comes back and it pretty much leaves off with, like, it's just another adventure. It's like, Indy doesn't die or anything, or is like crippled for life or something. Just, the adventure ends, and even though this is supposed to be the final ending of the franchise, it leaves an open door where, you know, Indy could just come back, which they definitely probably shouldn't do, because Harrison Ford is way too old at this point, and I think, yeah, it's fair. So, Dial of Destiny, it's serviceable, but so disappointing, and just, yeah, just a bland sort of film. I probably sound more harsh than the rating I give it with a 5 out of 10, but I think that's just it. I think it's a fine movie on its own, but as an Indiana Jones film, it's just not it. So, yeah, that's Dial of Destiny. Then here we've just got Kingdom of the Crystal Skull on just regular Blu-ray, but this is the 2-disc special edition, mainly because I just want to get the special features. So I do want to actually collect the whole series, apart from Dial of Destiny, which has the Blu-ray included, on just standard Blu-ray for all the special features, since the 4Ks only come with just the 4K disc. So this is just the 2-disc edition, because I'm such a very nostalgic for the DVDs, which I will actually just quickly show here. So yeah, these DVDs are my nostalgic ways of how I watched these films back when I was younger. So these are all the copies I still have. So I have very much a special connection with these DVDs, and especially with this one with the 2-disc version of Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. So basically I want to get the standard Blu-rays of these with those cover art, because they have the special features on them. And sure, I'm just collecting it again this time on Blu-ray and taking up double the shelf space, but I do want those special features, so that's the only way I'm going to get them. So yeah. Then moving on, we have Interstellar, which is phenomenal. On 4K, it looks absolutely phenomenal. Just visually, just my word, just seeing Christopher Nolan just make a space movie is just, oh, so good. Yeah, like, the visuals on this are just awe-striking. It makes complete sense why this movie is always regularly replaying at IMAX a lot of the time. So I do need to go and give it a watch at IMAX, because I didn't see this when it came out, because I was only like 2014, like, yeah, probably around that age, 14 or so, and I was like, I only like the Marvel movies and superhero stuff, so I don't really like Interstellar type stuff. So I don't like space, I don't like artsy movies. I mean, this is far from an artsy movie, but it's damn good. I think everyone is on top form in this. Like, Matthew McConaughey is great. Anne Hathaway is great. Jessica Chastain is really good. I think she's things. Michael Caine is great as ever. Casey Affleck's in this, who plays his son, Coop's son. who's just neglected. Like, it's crazy, like how there's so much, like the movie is built around Coop's bond with Murph that they just do not give a crap about his son. Like, it's absolutely crazy. But yeah, I think, yeah, the visual effects are awe-striking, and I think it's visually, it's probably the best space-based looking movie since 2001: Space Odyssey. So yeah, the only thing I sort of have a problem with is the ending, with the whole love is quantifiable thing. That takes a bit for me to get my head around. Like when I first watched it, I felt it was like love conquers all type ending, and I really don't like those type of endings. But sort of rewatching it again, I sort of realized, okay, it's not that. It's sort of going into the science of sort of things, and I think it is a pretty interesting concept on like how quantifiable is certain like human feelings and things. So that's the only thing that I sort of feel a bit weird on, but I've sort of come around to that. So, but for the most part, this is probably my favorite Christopher Nolan movie that's not Batman Begins. Yeah, Interstellar, fantastic, and beautifully shot, and this 4K is just awe-striking. It's definitely, it's with 2001 as the best visually looking 4K transfers ever. So yeah, phenomenal movie. So that brings to the end part 3 of this of the 4K Blu-ray DVD collection. Hope you enjoyed. Next time will be part 4. Will be different type of, again, other franchises. So we'll be looking at stuff like James Bond, John Wick, Jurassic Park, as well as the Monsterverse as well. So yeah, take care.